Chapter 4353. Immerse. The five of us will go on a trip to California. This was Chinshu's promise to Pudding. Daddy, when can we go back? It's almost Chinese New Year. I spoke to Grandpa on the phone today, and he said that you should go to the States for Chinese New Year. Our family is all in the States, so if you bring Mommy with you, we can all be together. Daddy is still a little busy, so it depends. Okay, then you must take care of your health. I will. You and your sister have fun. Bye, Daddy. Bye. After hanging up, Chinshu lowered his head and ate 2 bowls of beef ramen alone. The truth was, his appetite hadn't been very good recently, and he ate very little. Usually, he only ate a bite, but today perhaps because he knew that his mother-in-law could help him. She helped him find his Mian, so he was in a much better mood, and his appetite increased greatly. In the end, the 2 bowls of beef ramen were finished by Chinshu. After being satisfied, Chinshu drove to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. There were 2 of their friends at the Municipal Public Security Bureau. One was Gao Ran, and the other was Jiang Xiaowei. Chinshu asked them to meet at the Municipal Public Security Bureau's office. Recently, Wei Yinshu was on vacation, so he would go to the Municipal Public Security Bureau with his mother. When Jiang Xiaowei saw Chinshu, she deliberately teased her son. Yinshu, look, isn't that your father-in-law? Wei Yinshu smiled shyly and didn't refute. Then, she ran over to greet Chinshu warmly, unlike her usual aloof self. Hello, Uncle Chin. Yinshu is here too. Chinshu dotingly patted the kid's head. Why are you at the Municipal Public Security Bureau? Jiang Xiaowei was a little surprised. Chinshu didn't seem like a very free person, so he naturally wouldn't go to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. I have something important to talk to you and Gao Ran about. Okay, then let's go find him. Yinshu, wait for me in my office. I have something to discuss with Uncle Chin. Okay. Wei Yinshu was very obedient. He listened to his mother and went back to his mother's office. Meanwhile, Chinshu and Jiang Xiaowei arrived at Gao Ran's office. At this moment, Gao Ran was being reprimanded by his superior like a grandson. The hand that was holding the phone was trembling. Yes, I understand, leader. I'll do it as soon as possible. Don't worry. I'll try to resolve it before the end of the year. I won't embarrass our city. After hanging up the phone, Gao Ran rolled his eyes. Fuck, you're just sitting in an office and you're giving orders. If you're so good, why don't you do it? I'm the one running to the front line all day. If serial killers were so easy to catch, wouldn't the streets be filled with heroes? What? I was scolded again. Why are you here? Only then did Gao Ran react. He glanced at Chinshu and Jiang Xiaowei. I have something important to announce. Chinshu said. You going to divorce Womin? Gao Ran guessed. Divorce your ass. Chinshu was speechless. Jiang Xiaowei laughed. As far as I know, even if the earth exploded, Chinshu wouldn't divorce Womin. You're obviously asking for a beating. Then what are you so serious about? Gao Ran was curious. I'll show you a video. Chinshu took out his cell phone and showed Gao Ran and Jiang Xiaowei the video that he and Xiaofei had cracked. After watching it, they were both dumbfounded. Jiang Xiaowei didn't know what to say. Fuck, what the hell is this? It's too fast. That's sick. This is the psychopathic killer your city bureau has been looking for. Psychopathic killer? Who? Because the video was too fast, Gao Ran didn't see the killer's face clearly. So, Chinshu replayed it slowly. Then Gao Ran and Jiang Xiaowei screamed at the same time. Was this Wamian? Chapter 4354. Chinshu was a straightforward person, so he told Gao Ran and Jiang Xiaowei everything. He started from the trip to Yunnan. After hearing this, Gao Ran and Jiang Xiaowei felt that their brain capacity wasn't enough. Fuck, my head hurts. I can't react. Can you not say it all at once? That's too much information, Gao Ran complained. Jiang Xiaowei was much calmer. She pondered over Chinshu's words and thought about the cause and effect. Then, she slapped her forehead. That makes sense. I was wondering why Mian has been acting weird recently. She's not enthusiastic when she sees me and Lingling, and her taste has changed a lot. That day when she came to my office, she was very resistant to hypnosis. So, she's not Mian anymore. Yeah, She should be called a psychopathic killer now. Chin Chu nodded. Fuck this bitch. I have to arrest her immediately and give an explanation to the victim's family, as well as our leader. I've been going crazy because of her. Do you know how many people have died here recently? I don't even dare to report it truthfully. I'm afraid that if I report it, I'll be fired, but our higher-ups, the mayor, and the governor will all be finished. Gao Ran had never seen a case where so many people had died in such a short period of time. In order to avoid causing panic among the public, the municipal bureau didn't dare to make it public. Now that he heard that the murderer was a woman, Gao Ran felt like 10,000 alpacas were running around in his heart. You won't be able to catch her, Chin Chu said. Why? I don't believe that it won't be easy to catch her if I send 100 special police officers. Gao Ran was obviously unconvinced. Jiang Xiaowei glanced at him and explained helplessly, Chief Gao, didn't you hear what Chin Chu just said? This woman isn't human. She has special abilities. Didn't you see how fast she is in the video? I think you might not be able to catch her even if you sent 500 people, let alone 100 people. What do you mean? So, there's nothing we can do. We can only passively wait to be slaughtered by that monster? Gao Ran was full of resentment towards this female killer. Of course not. I've temporarily controlled her, and she can't harm anyone during this period of time. That's great. Give her to me. I have to bring her back. I can't give her to you. Chin Chu glanced at Gao Ran. Fuck, Chu. Don't tell me you're going to go against me. A life for a life. This woman has harmed so many people. Shouldn't she be sentenced to death? Gao Ran was a little agitated when he saw that Chin Chu wasn't willing to give her to him. She's the only clue that can lead us to Mian. Moreover, she's just a small character. Behind her, there's a big boss. After hearing Chin Chu's words, the two fell silent again. This woman was already sick enough. She killed people as soon as she attacked, but Chin Chu still said that she was a small character. Then how powerful was the boss behind her? It was unimaginable. At this point, Chin Chu stopped beating around the bush. He felt that the time was right, so he began to briefly talk about Huamin's mother, Linya. On the other hand, Suyu felt a lot more relaxed recently. It was also because he hadn't contacted Huamin for a few days. In his office, he turned on his phone and found Huamin's WeChat. He saw her WeChat moments and found that there were no updates. He sent a WeChat message tentatively. Mian, are you there? He waited for a long time, but there was no reply. Chapter 4355. At this moment, An ran into the room in a panic. President Su, something bad happened. What's wrong? Suyu looked at him anxiously. If it said something bad happened, it meant something serious must have happened. After all, he wasn't a person who was easily alarmed. Miss Han fainted on the set. Where? Hearing that Han Yueyao fainted, Suyu immediately stood up. She was in the studio on the 5th floor. She was supposed to shoot some magazine covers today, but she received an internal call saying she fainted. Where's she? She was sent to the first hospital. They're trying to save her. We don't know what happened yet. I'll go and see. Unable to sit still, Suyu hurried downstairs and went to the first hospital with Han Yao's fainting shocked everyone in Imperial Star. After all, she was a popular female star and was called the most promising female star in Imperial Star's history by many media outlets. When Suyu arrived at the hospital, the doctor had just come out of the emergency room. How is she? President Su, Miss Han is fine. She just fainted because of strong shock. We gave her an 4 drip. If she's fine, she'll wake up in a while. Okay, I'll go in and see. Today, Suyu was wearing a cream-colored sweater with a large Medusa snake head on his chest. It was indeed his favorite Versace. He wore a pair of dark-colored jeans and didn't look like the president of a listed company. When Suyu entered, Han Yueyao had already woken up. She looked at the ceiling and tears streamed down her face silently. Suyu walked over calmly and took out a tissue to wipe her tears. Han Yueyao's eyes moved. She didn't react until she saw Suyu. President Su, she said in a sobbing voice. What's wrong? What happened? Suyu tried to make his voice gentle and didn't tease her as he usually did. Lin Heng is dead. Then, Han Yueyao began to cry again. The delicate makeup she had put on for the photo shoot was all ruined by her tears. Her eyeliner was black, and she looked pathetic. Lin Hang? Oh, I remember now. Isn't the guy that Xiao Xiao like sick in the hospital? Suyu vaguely remembered that a while ago, Han Yueyao had hurriedly borrowed money from him to treat this patient. He's dead. I've just got the news that he died at South Side. Critically ill? So? No, he was hacked to death. He did it because he was trying to save me. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Han Yuyao's words were intermittent, and she was out of breath from crying. So you didn't really understand either. She took out tissues and wiped her tears with them. Don't cry. Speak slowly. I'm here. So you felt really uncomfortable when he saw the little girl crying like this. He was used to seeing her as carefree as a gamecock. Suddenly seeing her so sad, he really didn't know how to describe his feelings. There's a local gangster named Wang Kuan. He kidnapped me in the middle of the night 2 days ago and tried to rape me. When Lin Hang's men saw it, they told Lin Hang that he went to Wang Kuan's house to save me despite his serious illness. He also kidnapped Wang Kuan's wife and child, but he didn't hurt them. After Wang Kuan released me, he ordered his men to release the mother and son. I thought that was the end of the matter, but when I was filming, I received a call saying that Wang Kuan's men rushed into the hospital in the wee hours of the morning and killed Lin Hang. After the incident, the doctors tried to save him until just now, when they called me and said that he was gone. Finally, she finished her story in tears. Su Yu was silent. He didn't know Lin Hang well, but it was almost the new year. It was tragic that he was hacked to death in the hospital. Chapter 4356. Suyu's expression changed drastically. He's so arrogant. He dared to come to the hospital and kill someone. How dare he? Han Yueyao was agitated. She had been grieving over the fact that Lin Hang was in critical condition. She had planned to visit him at the hospital today and talk to him. But all of a sudden, he was gone just like that. She couldn't accept this situation. So, when she cried her heart out, she grabbed Suyu's hand. Suyu, I beg you, avenge Lin Hang. You must avenge Lin Hang. Kill that bastard, scum of society. Han Yueyao hated him to the extreme. She just didn't understand how there could be such a cruel person in the world. I understand. Leave it to me. Suyu patted Han Yueyao's back and comforted her softly. As they spoke, the door was pushed open. Suyu and Han Yueyao turned around abruptly. When they saw who it was, they were slightly stunned. Xiao Xiao, why are you back? Suyu was surprised to see Su Xiao Xiao. Su Xiao Xiao was dressed casually. She was wearing a long black down jacket, a classic masterpiece of a luxury brand. She was wearing white snowshoes and a black woolen hat. She had an extremely exquisite face. I just came from South Side to help Brother Lin deal with some funeral matters. Su Xiao Xiao seemed to be very calm. Compared to Han Yueyao's crying, she was exceptionally calm. Xiao Xiao, when did you come back? Han Yueyao wiped her tears and slowly stood up. I just arrived this morning. You know about it. Han Yueyao looked at Su Xiao Xiao with red eyes. MHM, I know. Yao Yao, you've done enough for Brother Lin. He'll understand. Su Xiao Xiao walked over, took off her gloves, and held Han Yueyao's hand. Xiao Xiao, I'm sorry. I didn't protect him well. I really didn't expect. And Wang Kuan did attack him because of me. Han Yueyao cried even harder. She blamed herself. She always felt that if she hadn't been caught by that old bastard Wang Kuan, Lin Hang would have saved her and her son. If Lin Hang went to save her and captured Wang Kuan's concubine and son, Wang Kuan wouldn't target him and take revenge. She had thought that Su Xiao Xiao would blame her, but she didn't. Although Su Xiao Xiao was usually unreasonable and domineering, she didn't. But when it really mattered, he was very sensible and knew how to look at the big picture. She sat down quietly beside Han Yueyao and said, Yao, let me tell you this. If it weren't for this incident, Big Brother Lin wouldn't have lived for long. You should know that his attending doctor has given him an ultimatum. He just left a little earlier. But with his illness, he'll suffer if he continues to be in a deadlock. It's good that he's gone. I hope he can be reincarnated into a good family. Xiao Xiao. Han Yueyao's voice was choked with tears. You're too tired. Lie down and rest first. I'll have a few words with my uncle. It just so happens that I want to buy a cemetery for Brother Lin in the North Mountain to be buried. All right. Seeing that Su Xiaoxiao had something to say to Su Yu, Han Yueyao nodded. Then, she lay back on the bed and continued to drip quietly. Su Yu and Su Xiaoxiao walked out of the ward and walked to a quiet corner of the corridor. Uncle, do you have cigarettes? Yes. Su Yu took out a box of Japanese 7-star cigarettes from his pocket. The packaging was blue and very beautiful. Su Xiaoxiao took out one and held it in her mouth skillfully. You didn't ask me how to talk about the cemetery, right? Su Yu looked at Su Xiaoxiao. You know me well. Su Xiaoxiao smiled, but her smile was obviously strange. Xiaoxiao, what do you want to do about this? Su Yu knew that Xiaoxiao had always liked the boy surnamed Lin. Chapter 43:57. What else can we do? Su Xiaoxiao took a big puff of her cigarette and coughed. Then he coughed a few times. Cough, cough, cough. Kill them. Kill them all. Let them be buried with my brother Lin. Su Xiaoxiao casually said such a vicious sentence. So he was a little nervous. He knew that this girl was capable of doing anything. Xiaoxiao, it's the end of the year, and the situation is tense. Many people have died here recently. I'll find evidence and let the police arrest Wang Kun and those who did it. Don't worry, I won't let anyone know. To his surprise, Su Xiaoxiao glanced at Su Yu and pursed her lips. That old thing is old. What can he do if he goes to prison? Even if he's shot 100 times, he won't be able to save Brother Lin's life. Su Yu noticed that Xiaoxiao's eyes were red when she said that. Yes, it was abnormal for her to be so quiet. Xiaoxiao, don't do anything rash. The higher-ups are very nervous now. As children of high-ranking officials, we can't bring shame to our families. Shame? No, it won't happen. It won't involve the family at all. Uncle, don't interfere in this matter. Leave it to me. Xiaoxiao. Su Yu wanted to persuade her, but Su Xiaoxiao threw the cigarette but on the ground, stomped on it, and left the hospital. Su Yu shook his head helplessly. That night, no one in Wang Kun's mansion survived. 18 of his men died, and Wang Kun died in a horrible way. At the same time, his concubine and son also died mysteriously. In the end, the police only thought that it was a gangster's revenge. After all, they had no clues. Only Su Yu and Han Yueyao knew that Su Xiaoxiao had offered a huge reward of 15 million yuan on the dark web. That night, 2 Vietnamese killers took the job and entered the country to kill. They were straightforward and left no traces. Han Yueyao was sick for 3 days. On the 4th day, she attended Lin Hang's funeral with the help of her agent and Su Xiaoxiao. On the day of her return, Han Yueyao's eyes were red from crying. She said to Lin Hang's close friends, Brother Lin is gone. Brother Lin is no longer around. In the future, if you have any difficulties, you can contact me directly. Thank you, Miss Han, but we're planning to go abroad. Go abroad? We'll find a job as a sailor. We'll go out on a cruise ship and visit many countries. The salary is pretty good. After Brother Lin passed away, the few of U.S. couldn't sleep at all. We miss him too much. If this goes on, we won't be able to take it anymore. That's why we want to leave this place temporarily. That's good too. Anyway, call me if you need anything. All right. Su Xiaoxiao left by plane that night and returned to the army. Then it was very quiet. There was no call or WeChat. Han Yueyao knew she was sad, but she couldn't say it. To take care of her, Su Yu gave her a week off to adjust her mood. After finishing all this, Su Yu remembered that there was still one important thing he had to do. He drove straight to South Hill Manor. However, she found that only Qin Chu was at home. He was sitting alone in the living room, eating dinner all alone. Even though the table was filled with delicacies, there was no trace of happiness in him. Why are you eating alone? I'm the only one here, Qin Chu said. Where's Mian? By the way, I came here today to ask you where she went. She didn't reply to my WeChat messages and didn't answer my calls. So you sat beside Qin Chu anxiously. His intuition told him that something had happened to the couple. Have some with me. Qin Chu handed Su Yu a pair of chopsticks, but didn't answer his question immediately. Are you two really going to divorce? What happened? Can you tell me the truth today? Su Yu wasn't in the mood to eat. Qin Shu looked like he was about to die from anxiety. Chapter 43:58. Let's eat first, Qin Shu repeated. Suyu thought, fuck. In the end, Suyu couldn't argue with Qin Shu, so he obediently picked up his chopsticks and started eating. Qin Shu pointed at the crabs with his chopsticks. Do you know what Mian likes to eat the most? Yeah, the whole world knows that she likes seafood, especially crabs. Suyu smiled. He remembered how cute Hua Mian used to sit there and nibble on crabs every time he asked her out for dinner. But she doesn't like to eat anymore. Do you know why? Qin Shu tilted his head and looked at Suyu, his expression calm. Because her tastes have changed. I think it's because this incident hurt her too much, so she's under too much pressure and no longer in the mood to eat. Suyu never thought that Huamin's sudden dislike of seafood was abnormal. Instead, he even tried to explain it for him. No, it's because she's not Mian at all. Qin Shu said, such a huge amount of information without any warning. Suyu almost went crazy when he heard this. He almost spat out the tea in his mouth. What did you just say? Suyu asked again, unsure. I don't repeat myself. Qin Shu gave him a proud expression. Suyu wasn't deaf, so there was no way he didn't hear it. Qin Shu didn't bother to reply to him with the same words. Really? Suyu was shocked. When did I lie? Qin Shu glared at him. But how is that possible? Suyu still felt that this incident was a bit too ridiculous. Qin Shu then told Suyu the main point of the incident. It was reasonable. After hearing what Qin Shu said, Suyu indeed felt that there were many things wrong with Mian after she returned from Yunnan. So it was actually a trick to swap the crown prince. Suyu was dumbfounded as he looked at Qin Shu. Old Qin, so, you mean, since the explosion in Yunnan, Mian has already been swapped? That's right. Qin Shu nodded. Fuck, Layla didn't die in such a huge explosion? Suyu couldn't accept it. After all, Huasiqian sacrificed his life in exchange for it was a super bomb made by Huamin himself. So many people present were blown to pieces. Huasiqian was the closest to Layla. Even Huasiqian was blown to ashes, but Layla was fine. She even pretended to be Huamin. So, Layla looks exactly like Mian? Suyu felt a chill run down his spine again. In Yunnan, he was the only one who didn't know Layla's true appearance. Huamin and Huasiqian both knew and had seen her before. In fact, Suyu had seen her before, but he thought it was just a dream. Now that he thought about it, it might not have been a dream. He only found out now that Layla looked exactly like Huamin. How slow was he to realize it? Yes. Qin Shu confirmed his words. Fuck, I can't take it anymore. This is too much information. Suyu put down his chopsticks and stood up, dumbfounded. Then, he suddenly thought of a very, very important question. Layla didn't die in the explosion, so her identity is an American agent. She's a super evolved high-level clone. Qin Shu answered. Suyu, stop fooling around, old Qin. Do you think you're playing Resident Evil with us? Suyu thought that Qin Shu was joking. However, Qin Shu had always joked with people other than Huamin. Layla is indeed a super evolved high-level clone. She has many special abilities that are beyond ordinary people. Speed is one of them. She can be as fast as a beam of light. Qin Shu continued. Suyu. Chapter 43:59. What Qin Shu said had completely exceeded Suyu's imagination. After all, he had been a special forces soldier. He really couldn't believe what Qin Shu said. After all, Suyu was an atheist. He had always believed in science. However, Layla was indeed a product of a perverted scientist. She was a genetically modified product of an advanced human civilization. On top of Hua means original genes, he added too many physical strengthening elements. Back then, Linya did miss her daughter, but after researching such a monster, she was enlightened and began to create an army of clones. Now, she had turned the underwater palace into an underground kingdom. Moreover, it was a super secretive place that even the best detectors in various countries couldn't detect. Linya was indeed a genius, so was Professor Liu. So Huamin was, and so was Liu Yin, who had a quarter of Linya's genes. This whole family is almost become a ray of light. Are you sure you're not bragging? See for yourself. Qin Chu threw out a video and placed his phone in front of Su Yu. It was the video taken at the villa in the suburbs and decrypted by Qin Chu and Xiao Fei. After watching it, Su Yu's understanding of the world was refreshed again. Fuck. Even our company's special effects can't be this good. This woman is a monster. She's a monster. Qin Chu agreed. Then the most important question is, where is Mian? Only then did Su Yu realize how serious the situation was. A fake perverted Mian had lived here for so long. She had committed crimes and caused trouble for all her family and friends. Then where was the real Mian? Where did that high-end, classy, calm, witty, and sophisticated little girl go? She's at the headquarters of Layla's force. Layla has a force behind her? Su Yu finally understood. Of course, Layla is just a small fry. The force behind her is the real schemer. Is it Ian? Su Yu had heard of Ian. Even 100 Ians can't compare to him. Fuck, then we're done for. Ian is already so difficult to deal with, let alone such a powerful person. What should we do? I should go home and talk to Grandpa to see if we can send a few Special Forces soldiers over and get some heavy weapons. Su Yu paced around anxiously. Don't bother Lord Su. Ordinary people will die if they go, even Special Forces soldiers. See you this time? I want you to help me save Mian. Of course, Mian is also my friend. I have to save her. Su Yu patted his chest and promised. His meaning was very clear. No matter what difficulties or obstacles they faced, Huamin must be saved. On this point, Qin Chu and Su Yu reach an agreement. I have a way to find Mian's location, but I have a feeling that the master behind them is watching me, so I don't dare to act rashly. But you're different. If you charter a plane in the name of traveling, no one will suspect you. So, after I find the location, you can go and confirm it first. That's a good idea. I like it. Su Yu agreed. But Su Yu, you have to remember that after you find the place, you can't act rashly. You have to observe the surrounding environment and the geographical location. After you get some accurate information, report it to me. Then, I'll think of a way to save her in time. In other words, before I get there, you can't alert them. You can't deal with them alone. Qin Chu reminded him again and again. No problem, I can do that. But what about that psycho? I think we should kill her now to vent our anger. Su Yu was referring to Layla. Chapter 4360. Qin Chu looked up at Su Yu. Do you think I don't want to? Su Yu, if I could kill her, I wouldn't need you to tell me. Only then did Su Yu catch the main point of Qin Chu's sentence. Couldn't kill her? No way. You mean that psycho can't be killed? Of course. She's already killed so many people and is running amok in this city. If I didn't know that she's capable, do you think I would have obediently put her under house arrest and not let her go to prison to await trial? You put her under house arrest? Yes. Then she obediently let you put her under house arrest? That doesn't make sense. Su Yu was dumbfounded. She didn't obediently let me put her under house arrest. The video you just watched was taken while she was under house arrest. She went out to kill people or forage for food. Su Yu, forage for food. If it weren't for her special identity, I would have handed her over to Gao Rance Bureau. Do you think I want to keep such a ticking time bomb? So now that she's locked up, it's like she's not locked up. No, now that I have a helper, she won't dare to act rashly, so you didn't ask further about Qin Chu's helper. He knew that with Qin Chu's personality, he would definitely say what he needed to say. Then, Qin Chu briefly explained Hua Min's background. At least, he wanted Su Yu to know who their enemy was. As expected, Su Yu's worldview was refreshed once again. A biological mother had attacked her own daughter. Perhaps only Linya could do such a cruel thing in the world. Before he left, Su Yu lamented, "Are all top geniuses crazy? Are they so obsessed that they don't even recognize their own family?" Qin Chu didn't answer because it wasn't absolute. Qin Chu believed that Linya was just an example. He actually thought that if he had the chance to meet Linya, he would also want to ask her, why was he so cruel to Mian? As long as Mian didn't come back, Qin Chu would feel uneasy. Although his conversation with Su Yu took place in South Hill Manor, Qin Chu used a high-precision device to block it. He knew that if these words were leaked out, it would be disastrous. Not only him, but Suyu's life would also be in danger. After Suyu learned the truth, his mood was extremely complicated. When he returned to the private villa, he saw An cooking. It was rare for An Yi to cook, so Suyu was quite surprised. What day? Master An, you're actually cooking personally? President Su, please don't make fun of me. Have I not cooked enough for you over the years? How long has it been since you last did it? What's wrong with you today? Suyu was puzzled. Because today is the anniversary of our first meeting. And said innocently. Suyu was speechless. Ha ha ha, I'm joking. Boss, don't look at me with that murderous gaze, okay? Did you buy all this food? He looked at the packaging from the supermarket on the floor. There were also a lot of food, fruits, snacks, videos, beer, and drinks. It was like a New Year's shopping spree. However, looking at such meticulous purchases, it didn't seem like An's careless personality. I'm not that capable. Madam came by today. My mom? Yeah. She saw that you weren't here, so she put down the things and left. She also asked me to tell you to spend more time with Miss Han when you're free. Miss Han hasn't been feeling well recently and has been going to the hospital. So you didn't answer An's words. Instead, he took out a can of beer from the bag. Then, he opened it and took a big gulp. Thinking about what Qin Shu had told him today, he still felt like he was in a dream. All right, President Su, I saw a post on Weibo today about Miss Han. What post? Suyu slumped onto the sofa with the beer in his hand, exhausted. Chapter 4361. The internet said that the man with the surname Lin who died a few days ago was Miss Han's boyfriend, Suyu, and it's reasonable. They showed the receipt of Miss Han's medical fees at the hospital. They also showed the photos of Miss Han visiting the hospital several times. In the end, they even took photos of Miss Han attending the funeral, Shaun said. Suyu, most importantly, Miss Han's condition has been bad recently. She's suffered a huge blow. She looks very haggard. So the internet is saying that Miss Han and Mr. Lin were a couple for many years. Then, in order to become famous, Miss Han abandoned her boyfriend. Her boyfriend didn't give up and sold his kidney to his girlfriend to buy resources and trending topics, helping Miss Han become famous. That's nonsense. So he was furious. Yes, I know best how Miss Han became famous. I'm really angry. Those people are clearly trying to smear Miss Han's reputation, but the netizens don't understand the truth. Most of the netizens haven't left the scene resolutely. All of their opinions and departures were guided by the media. That article was so provocative that it made Miss Han out to be an ungrateful person. Now that Mr. Lin is dead, and he doesn't have a family, even if he wants to clarify things, he can't find anyone. If this goes on, it's really bad for Miss Han. And wasn't a gossipy person. When he saw this article, it was because it had been reposted too many times. Then, Han Yueyao became a trending topic a few times. And the trending topic was, Han Yueyao is ungrateful. Han Yueyao's boyfriend, Han Yueyao, attends the funeral. All these negative things. Find out which media outlet did this. Lin Yichin ordered. Suyu crushed the empty beer can in his hand. How dare they bully an artist from his company? They must be tired of living. I found it. It's Fengyue Media. Fengyue Media? Suyu frowned slightly. I knew, and so did Suyu. Fengyue Media was a small media company that Nie Lingxian opened herself. Actually, rather than a company, it was more like a team. It was equivalent to the interest of a studio. Those people were responsible for helping Nie Lingxian maintain her image, official Weibo, and some social media software. They would also write some advertisements to promote her popularity. In short, when it was first established, Suyu even gave a red packet. But now, he was shooting at his own people? This made Suyu a little unhappy. Seeing that Suyu didn't say anything and said carefully, Mr. Su, do you think Miss Nie is jealous and thinks there's something going on between you and Miss Han? I don't think so. She's never done anything despicable to her competitors. I don't think she'd do anything to Han Yueyao. But it's from Fengyue Media. This article is going viral on Weibo. The number of reposts and readers is huge. If this continues, Miss Han's image will collapse. I'll ask her later. Suyu lowered his head. No one knew what he was thinking. Just as they finished talking, the doorbell rang. And was a little puzzled. Could it be that Madam is here again and wants to have dinner with you? And walked to the door of the villa and opened it. Then he was stunned. It was Han Yueyao. She looked haggard, wore no makeup, and had long hair. She was wearing a black leather jacket and a pair of black leggings. In her hand was a black LV suitcase. Miss Han, you're... Han was confused. And is President Su here? Yes, yes, yes. And hurriedly invited Han Yueyao in. Chapter 4362. Suyu was surprised to see Han Yueyao. Why are you here? Didn't I give you a day off? Suyu stood up, a little worried. He thought Han Yueyao was affected by the negative news. President Su, I'm here to say goodbye to you. Han Yueyao's voice was hoarse. It was obvious that she hadn't been living well these days. Goodbye? Where are you going? Suyu was puzzled. It wasn't the spring festival yet. Was she going home so early? Or was she going on a trip? Home. Home. It's not the spring festival yet. I want to go back and spend more time with my parents. Okay, why don't I book a plane ticket and a hotel for you? You could take your parents on a trip to the Maldives or Bali to relax. Suyu knew that Han Yueyao had been blaming herself for Lin Heng's death and couldn't get over it. No need. I just want to go home and stay quietly. Okay, when are you leaving? I'll ask him to drive you to the airport. I'll go to the airport in a while. So soon. Suyu froze again. No one could stop this girl's temper. President Su, there's something else I want to talk to you about. Okay. Every time Han Yueyao said these words so seriously, Suyu felt a little uncomfortable. She was still used to the days of arguing with her, and pricked up his ears. With his years of experience, he guessed that Han Yueyao was going to confess to Suyu openly. She wanted an answer. In fact, Suyu was also nervous. He was afraid that Han Yueyao would confess to him. That would be awkward. But this time, both Suyu and him were wrong. Han Yueyao said calmly. She said, President Su, I'm a little tired. I want to rest. Okay, no problem. Didn't I give you a break? Suyu didn't quite understand. I think I'm tired. I don't want to be a celebrity anymore. What do you mean? Suyu had a bad feeling about this. President Su, I'm sorry. I'm so disappointing. I think I can't hold on any longer. Miss Han, and heard something and wanted to say something to dissuade her. But Han Yueyao interrupted him. I wanted to debut myself. You've always helped me and supported me, no matter what others said. So, I'm really grateful to you for what I am today. Don't say such meaningless things. Get to the point. So you said word by word as he looked at her. President Su, I want to leave the industry. What? Miss Han, are you crazy? Do you know what your status is now? Do you know what the experts in the entertainment industry say about you? They say that you're the artist with the most potential and future since Imperial Star was founded and the actress with the most commercial value and talent in acting. And was excited because a few days ago, when he helped Suyu get the information, he accidentally flipped through it. Only then did he realize that many famous international brands were interested in hiring Han Yueyao as their spokesperson. There were cosmetics, clothes, jewelry, and watches. This was an honor that many celebrities couldn't achieve even after working for their entire lives. Han Yueyao had only achieved it in half a year. Now, she wanted to leave the industry with just a few words, and felt that she was so stupid that she didn't even want money. Chapter 4363. I know. That's why I said I'm sorry, President Su. President Su, I don't want my salary. I've troubled you a lot recently. I don't want the car or anything that belongs to the company. But I might not be able to return the money you lent me because I used it to treat Lin Heng's illness. So you didn't speak. You just sighed slightly and looked at her. Han Yueyao continued. If you want to sue me for breach of contract, I can. But I don't have much money. Even if I win the lawsuit, I might not be able to return the money. But if you're unwilling, I could go to jail for a few years. After all, I brought this upon myself. Han Yueyao bit her lip. She was a dancer and had been an artist for more than half a year. She didn't know much about the law. That was why she said such unprofessional words. Hearing this, Suyu wanted to hit her. I said, Are you done? Yes. In your mind, I'm that kind of person. I'll sue you and send you to jail if I don't get the money? Am I that bad? So you didn't know whether to laugh or cry. No. Okay, you. Stop talking nonsense. I'll take it that you're being impulsive. You want to go home? Okay, go back and rest. Come back whenever you want. Maybe you'll think it through after the new year when you're bored at home. I've thought about it for a long time. I'm not being impulsive. Su Yu, listen to me. Han Yueyao put down the luggage in her hand and looked at Su Yu with a complicated expression. She couldn't describe her feelings. She felt guilty, self-reproach, aggrieved, and even sad. President Su, I didn't really like being a celebrity in the past. I told you before that I thought it was easy to make money in this industry, so I wanted my parents to live a better life. However, I was too naive. After all, my social experience was too shallow, so I didn't see the dark side of things. I've been in the company for so long, and I've been safe and sound all this time because you've secretly taken care of me. Otherwise, those directors, producers, and investors wouldn't have let me off so easily. I know all of that. Miss Han, you know President Su has done so much to promote you. Why are you giving up so easily? I'm looked a little exasperated. You might say that even if Brother Lin didn't save me, he would have died of illness. But I want to say that they're two different things. Dying of illness is still death, but Brother Lin was stabbed in the hospital. He doesn't have parents anymore. Now, he has to die in such a tragic way. I can't take it anymore. You're not involved and will never know how much I've been carrying. President Su, I'm really tired. I think I finally understand that I'm just an ordinary woman. An ordinary woman. I don't want to pretend to be a superstar. Maybe I'm only fit to be an ordinary woman for the rest of my life. Then she looked at Su Yu with tears in her eyes. At that moment, Su Yu's feelings became even more complicated. He understood her words. To be honest, his heart ached for this little girl. Chapter 43-64. President Su, this, and couldn't understand Han Yuyao's willfulness. Even the super rich, Su Yu had to spend a lot of money to make a newcomer popular. Not to mention money, Su Yu had never lacked it. However, Su Yu had put in a lot of effort into networking and resources. Su Yu didn't like Han Yueyao and had never accepted her confession. However, Su Yu was sincere in helping her, whether it was because of her good character or because of Huamin. In short, Su Yu had done more for Han Yueyao than she could see. But now, the girl suddenly said that she wanted to leave the industry, which made him feel bad. He felt that everything his boss had done was in vain. Hearing that he was about to speak, Su Yu reached out and gestured to him, and immediately swallowed his words. Su Yu walked over and looked at Han Yueyao. Although I can't empathize with what you're thinking, I understand. I really do. I respect your decision. I want to ask you to compensate me or sue you. I'll get the company to pay you tomorrow. I still have the same words. You're welcome to come back whenever you want. President Su, Han Yueyao's eyes were red. The entertainment industry is stressful to begin with. I know Lin Hang's death has changed your mentality a lot. These accidents are inevitable. Xiao Xiao has already avenged him. You should get over the trauma as soon as possible. Okay. Okay, I'll ask him to drive you to the airport. President Su, can you drive me there? Han Yueyao asked Su Yu to drive her. Su Yu froze for a moment before nodding. Sure. Do you want to leave now, or take a break and drink something? Is it too late? Su Yu looked at his watch. No, let's go now. Okay. Su Yu nodded and put on the jacket on the sofa. President Su, drive slowly. It's snowing today and the road is very slippery, and reminded worriedly. Well, if you're hungry at home, get yourself something to eat. Su Yu reached out and snatched the luggage from her hand. Like a man, he helped him carry it, and the two of them left the house one after the other, and was filled with emotions. When they were far away, and was still muttering in the living room, Miss Han is still a child. She's too capricious. President Su spent hundreds of millions on her, and thought she'd be the queen of Imperial Star for the next 5 years. Unfortunately, this girl is really, Xiaoan shook his head. Su Yu probably didn't want to be so high profile and didn't want to be photographed by the media. Therefore, he drove the Phaeton out of the garage, which he rarely drove. The Phaeton was really the most low-key luxury car. This was because the exterior of the car looked like a Volkswagen Speedster, magenta Passat that filled the streets. However, the interior decoration was extremely luxurious. This car was given to Suyu by someone in the past. In Suyu's own words, there was nothing wrong with his brain. How could he spend millions on such a car? But he didn't expect to use it today. After they got into the car, Suyu thought that Han Yueyao would sit in the passenger seat. But she didn't. She opened the back door and sat in the back seat. This way, she would be able to distance herself from Suyu. Suyu still didn't say anything. After getting into the car, the two of them drove out of the neighborhood. Suyu's place wasn't far from the airport's highway, so they quickly got on the highway. After about 5 minutes of silence, Han Yueyao couldn't help but say, "President Su, if I leave this time and never come back, will you miss me?" Chapter 43-65. Suyu held the steering wheel steadily and looked ahead. After about 10 seconds, he answered. He smiled. "It's okay. It's not far away. When I miss you, I can go to Jing City to find you. I'm not joking. I'm serious. Suyu, I don't want to come back. There's nothing here for me to miss." Suyu was a little embarrassed. He wanted to say something to comfort her, but he didn't know what to say. Han Yueyao lowered her head and intertwined her hands. It was obvious that she was feeling very complicated. She seemed to be struggling internally. Perhaps he felt that if this continued, it would only be awkward, so Suyu played a song. It was really random. He had never driven this car before, so he didn't know what songs were on it. He had only borrowed it a few times from his friends, so he chose a random song. It was an old song, Li Zongxing's Obsessed. The old song and Li Zongxing's hoarse voice came from the stereo. In this night, there was a sense of time travel. I once thought that life was like this. The calm heart refuses to have any more waves. The love thread that has been cut 1,000 times can't be broken after 100 twists and turns. It revolves around me. Someone asked me, "What's so good about you after so many years?" I still can't forget, no matter how beautiful the spring breeze is. It can't compare to your smile. Those who haven't seen. You won't understand. It's good that I'm obsessed. It's good that I got married in my previous life. Suyu was very emotional when he heard this song. Once, he was singing with a few rich second-generation airs. There was a man who sang this song. When he saw the lyrics, Suyu felt that this song was tailor-made for him. Wasn't that how he felt about Mian? He had indeed been obsessed with Huamin for many years. Han Yueyao seemed to know what Suyu was thinking. She slowly said, "President Su, when you fell in love with Sister Mian back then, didn't it feel magical and wonderful?" So you didn't avoid it and only smiled. "Yeah, I still remember that scene. Back then, Mian was just a doctor at Southside, and I was hospitalized for a fracture." Han Yueyao continued. "It said that the one who is loved is happy, but that's not the case. The one you love is also happy because there are many people in the world who haven't met someone they love to death. So, you're lucky to have met Sister Mian." "Yeah, Mian has always been lucky. Suyu, do you know how much I envy you for being able to protect Sister Mian for the rest of your life? I even thought about protecting you for the rest of my life, just like how you protect Sister Mian." Han Yueyao said the blunt words calmly. Suyu froze for a moment, and his heart seemed to beat faster. Then, Han Yueyao continued. "Later, I realized how overconfident I was." "Ha! You can protect Sister Mian because you have the capital and power. You can stand up for her at any time and do everything you can to help her. As for me, other than saying that I love you and want to protect you for the rest of my life, I'm fucking useless. I have no money, no background, no good father. I don't have a huge network. Even Lin's death was caused by Xiao Xiao. So, Suyu, what right do I have to love and protect you?" Han Yueyao sat in the back seat with tears streaming down her face, so you didn't dare to look at her in the rearview mirror. From her voice, he knew she was crying very, very hard. Chapter 43-66. Yao Yao. Suyu rarely called her so intimately, afraid that she would misunderstand. But now, Han Yueyao was crying so miserably. Even if Suyu had a heart of stone, he couldn't stand it anymore. He wanted to say something to comfort the crying girl. But Han Yueyao didn't give Suyu a chance. Suyu, don't say anything. Listen to me. Okay, go ahead. Suyu lowered the volume of the stereo as he drove. Han Yueyao took a tissue and wiped her tears. She continued, I used to think that the female artists of Imperial Star were vulgar. Of all people, why do they like Suyu? Isn't he just rich? Is he a son of a high-ranking official? Does he like to show off and show off? Later, I realized that I'm as shallow as them. I also fell in love with you, who likes to show off. Of course, people who don't know you will only see the surface. Only after they really get to know you will they know how good you are. At first, I was quite impulsive and wanted to try if I could confess to you successfully. Although the probability was as ridiculous as winning the lottery, I still wanted to try. Later, I didn't say anything. I knew I couldn't say it. After seeing everything you did for Sister Mian, bit by bit, after seeing everything she did for you, I suddenly felt that I didn't deserve you. I didn't deserve to like you. It has nothing to do with family background or money. It's just that you're good. Sometimes I think that if President Qin didn't exist before, Sister Mian would definitely accept your love. Unfortunately, there are no ifs in life. Suyu smiled bitterly. He had long stopped asking for Mian's response. He only wanted Mian to be safe for the rest of her life. It wasn't that he was magnanimous, but he sincerely hoped that she could live peacefully in his sight. Being good friends for life was also a very happy thing. Yeah, there are no ifs in life. If I hadn't come to this city, if I hadn't met Xiao Xiao and Big Brother Lin, none of this would have happened. If I hadn't entered your company, I wouldn't have become a celebrity. If I hadn't met you, I wouldn't have fallen deeply in love with you. But to me, all of these are precious memories. Really, Suyu, I think, I won't forget you, never. But I really won't step foot on this land again. You are too tired, Yao Yao. You should rest well. She wanted to say something, but found they had arrived at the airport. She suddenly realized that the time she spent with Suyu was always so short. We're here. Suyu parked the car. All right. She got out of the car with her simple luggage. Suyu followed her, but was stopped by Han Yueyao. You can go back. I'll escort you through the security check. It's okay. I'll leave by myself. Don't send me off. Please don't. She didn't like parting scenes, so she refused Suyu's escort. Seeing Han Yueyao insist, Suyu didn't force her. Okay then. Take care. Call me if you need anything. If you think it through and want to come back, call me too. Imperial Star isn't a kindergarten, but you're welcome at any time. Suyu's half-joking words lifted Han Yueyao's mood. She smiled, pursed her lips, and said shyly, Suyu, I want to hug you. She thought Suyu would refuse, but as soon as she finished speaking, she felt a warm figure pouncing on her and hugging her tightly. At that moment, Han Yueyao was so touched that she wanted to cry. It turned out that being hugged by the person she liked was such a happy thing. Chapter 4367. It didn't matter if it was Han Yueyao or Suyu. Neither of them expected that this would be the last time they would meet. They would never have such a chance again. Fate was sometimes something that could be said to be deep or shallow. It came and went quickly. Hearing Han Yueyao's words, Suyu turned around and walked out of the airport. Han Yueyao carried her luggage and walked towards the door with tears in her eyes. She didn't wear a mask, didn't have an assistant or agent. From now on, there was no more superstar Han Yueyao, only dance teacher Han Yueyao. After returning to Jing City, Han Yueyao had decided to find a dance school and become a teacher. She wanted to live an ordinary life and be an ordinary person. After Suyu left the airport, he didn't leave. Instead, he sat in the car. He didn't say anything and just stared blankly for a while until Han Yueyao's plane flew across the sky. Suyu was actually a very smart person. He knew who liked him and could tell. He had long known Han Yueyao's feelings for him, but he pretended not to know. He also knew that if he asked her to stay and agreed to be with Han Yueyao, the girl wouldn't leave. This young lady must not leave. Perhaps the two of them could even have a flash marriage or something. But this wasn't Suyu's style. I don't love you, so I definitely won't hold you back or drag you down. The older he got, the more he understood the true meaning of love. When Suyu looked at Han Yueyao, he only felt that the girl was lively and cute, but he didn't feel his heart racing or his body electrified. But if he took out Huamin's photo, he would immediately feel different. Therefore, he decided to follow his heart. Since he had been willful all these years, he might as well be willful to the end. After the plane left, Su-yu drove back to the mansion, and even made some frozen dumplings for supper. "Boss, you back. I just cooked the dumplings." "I'm not eating." Su-yu was a little listless. He took off his jacket and fell onto the sofa. "What's wrong? Did your heart become empty after Big Yao Yao left?" And smiled cheekily. Su-yu raised his hand and then thought that his boss was going to hit him. In the end, she found that he only reached out and touched the back of his head. "He's already gone. Stop spreading rumors." "Oh, boss, Big Yao Yao is so nice. Why didn't you say yes to her? Even an idiot like me can tell that she asked you to send her to the airport to create a chance between the two of you. You actually sent her away. Are you really that stupid, or just pretending to be stupid?" Shoo, don't talk nonsense." "I'm not talking nonsense. Seriously, Yao Yao is really good. Even if she doesn't want to be a celebrity and feels pressured, you can keep her and let her work behind the scenes. Even if she doesn't do anything, you can support her. I see that Madam likes her a lot. I'm still hoping that the two of you can have some chemistry. I was thinking that I could hold a grandson or something soon. Look at you. Didn't you completely mess it up? She's already back in her hometown. How can you still flirt with her?" At this time, Shaon was like Tang Sanzang, nagging Su-yu. "Chemistry? Popcorn. Stop nagging. She's gone. Besides, it's good that she's gone. How can I keep her? I might not give her happiness. You have money, status, and looks. If you can't give her happiness, who else can? Who else is qualified to give her happiness?" Shao's words were really the rhythm of flattery. Chapter 4368. And I might have to go on a long trip soon, so you didn't want to continue discussing Han Yueyao with him. So he suddenly said that he was going out. "Where are you going?" "I don't know where exactly." So you thought that Qin Chu hadn't told him the location. But you're going with me. I don't trust anyone else. Okay. I made an okay gesture. "Don't tell my mom." Su-yu reminded him again. "I understand." After Han Yueyao left, Su-yu was a little disappointed, not because of anything else, but because it was a pity. Han Yueyao was a talented actress and was very popular. Now that she was leaving, the penalty alone would be astronomical. But Su-yu didn't say this. Han Yueyao had made a lot of money for the company during this time. The next morning, he went to the company and ordered the finance department to prepare Han Yueyao's report. 10 a.m. The finance director personally brought Han Yueyao's financial situation to the office. "President Su, Han Yueyao has made 150 million yuan for the company in the past 6 months. But if she leaves the entertainment industry now, she'll have to pay 80 million yuan for the penalty alone. Isn't there still 70 million yuan left?" So you said. "But our company invested 68 million yuan just to promote her." Su-yu was speechless. "So there's only 2 million yuan left. The 2 million yuan doesn't include the salary of her team. Normally, her team, agent and assistant should be paid by her, not our company." Forget it. Let's not argue about this. How about this? Zhu, find Han Yueyao's bank card and transfer 5 million yuan to her. 5 million yuan? Isn't it 2 million yuan? The finance director thought he had heard wrong. "I don't want to calculate the details with her. She has done a lot for the company in the past 6 months. Consider it a personal gift from me. After you transfer the money, tell her that this is the remaining money after the company settlement. Okay?" The finance director sincerely thought that President Su was a good person. They had never docked any employee's salary, not even Jiantong or Mo Shui. Even when he fell out with him, he did not deliberately pick a fight with him over money. There were not many bosses like him. President Su, Han Yueyao left just like that. Who's going to support Imperial Star now? Although she was in charge of finance, she was still quite worried when she saw such a money tree leave. Didn't little Nye come back? Tell the public relations department. From today onwards, we'll do everything we can to promote little Nye's comeback. All right. GK headquarters. 3 days later, Qin Shu received a call from Shaoling and drove to Shaoling and her mother-in-law's residence. After entering the house, she found that the room was a little dark and the curtains were closed. Big brother Qin Chu, don't be afraid. My grandma is doing a ritual. Qin Chu sat quietly on the side. Granny was still wearing shabby clothes, and her hair was white. First, she placed a doll on the table. Then, it began to mumble some unknown incantation. Then, Granny bit her middle finger and ring finger and dripped the blood on the doll. Then, she began to mumble another incantation. Then, a magical scene appeared. White smoke began to emit from the doll's body, as if it was about to catch fire. Big brother Qin Chu. This is a ritual made from the things on the monster's body. My grandma's been drawing charms inside and outside the doll's stomach for 2 or 3 days. Now, we can control her. After Xiaoling said this, Qin Chu immediately took out his phone and looked at the surveillance footage of the villa from afar. Layla was lying in the living room, rolling on the ground and howling. White smoke was faintly coming out of her stomach. Chapter 43:69. At that moment, Qin Chu felt a chill run down his spine. Witchcraft was so powerful, she could remotely control the person she wanted to control. After watching Granny do the same thing, she tapped lightly. The doll stopped moving. Is she dead? Qin Chu stood up anxiously. No, she's just in a deep coma because of my spell. She lost consciousness. In this case, she can't go out and harm people for the time being. No matter how capable she is, how fast she is, or how much strength she has, she can only sleep quietly like a living dead. That's great. Qin Chu seemed to finally be relieved. Then, he sent a WeChat message to Gao Ran. Old Gao, Layla is under my control. You don't have to worry about murder cases for now. Old Tai, it's safe. I finally don't have to work overtime tonight. Gao Ran was naturally very grateful. Then, Granny stood up, looking a little haggard. Granny, are you okay? Every time my grandma casts a spell, she'll be exhausted. She'll be fine after some rest. Ling said and poured a cup of tea for her grandma. The old lady sat beside Qin Chu. Little Qin, I'm going to give you the same heart voodoo later and help you find your wife. Thank you for your hard work, Granny. Qin Chu was very grateful for Granny's help. You don't have to be so polite with me. There are just a few things that I have to tell you in advance. The same heart voodoo is very domineering. When it swims in your body, it will hurt so much that it corrodes your heart and bones. You might have to suffer some physical pain. That's not a problem, Granny. Do as you please, Qin Chu said firmly. To him, not to mention enduring a bit of pain, even if it took his life, he was willing to do so. As long as Mian could come back, Granny nodded and continued. There's also one more thing. Once the same heart voodoo is used, your lives will be connected. If you die, she dies. If you live, she lives. Qin Chu did not expect this result. All he wanted was for Mian to live well. If they were connected, what if something happened to him in the future? The more Qin Chu thought about it, the more confused he became. Granny continued. So you have to think it through. Grandma, is there any other way? Qin Chu asked her. What do you mean? It's the kind of method where my wife can continue to live after I die. I don't want her to take any risks. Qin Chu spoke his mind. No, this is the only way. All right. Qin Chu nodded. Granny continued. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but all these years, was your wife your only woman? Was she the only one who had intimate contact with him? Grandma's question was vague, but Qin Chu was smart enough to understand it. Yes, Granny. I only have one woman, my wife. I've only touched her. Then that's easy. You don't have to be afraid. After you find your wife, both of you will bite your fingers and drink the blood in each other's body. The parasite will naturally crawl out. That's the way to cure the parasite poison. You must remember that. Yes, I'll remember it, Grandma. Very good. Let's begin. The old lady finished the tea in her bowl and stood up slightly. Grandma, you must be tired from casting the spell. You should rest more. Qin Chu couldn't bear to torture the old lady. It's fine. Come on. I also hope you can find your wife quickly. Qin Chu nodded gratefully. Ling, bring me the world map. I want to do an accurate location analysis, Granny ordered. Yes, Grandma. Chapter 4370. On the other side of the earth, in the underwater palace, the baby was due, but it was still motionless. This made Huamin restless. She was under house arrest in the White Room, and her mood was extremely irritable. I want to see Linya. Huamian ran to the door, opened the door, and said to the expressionless maid in a white dress, I'm sorry. I want to see Linya. Did you hear me? Huamin shouted. At this moment, Messiah walked over. Miss Mian, what's wrong? Messiah, I'm due, but the baby isn't moving in my stomach. I'm a little scared. Is the baby in danger? It was said that pregnant women were emotional and sensitive. Huamin was an authoritative doctor in the gynecology and obstetrics department. He often saw children who were due later than expected. The longest time was when a woman was 15 days pregnant. It was all normal. Natural childbirth was like a ripe melon falling off. Waiting for the baby to move, the water would either break or bleed. These weren't big problems, but when it was his turn, he would panic. Huamin had forgotten that he was a doctor and had learned obstetrics. Miss Mian, don't worry. How about this, if you trust me? I'll take you to do an ultrasound. Okay? Ultrasound? Do you have one here? Huamin was surprised after being here for so long. Linya had never taken her to do an ultrasound. Yes, we do. Messiah didn't seem to want to say too much. She only asked Huamin if he was willing to go. Then I'll go with you. I want to see if the baby is okay. How many days has it been, Miss Mian? Including today, it's been 12 days. Huamin frowned slightly. 12 days? It's been a long time. Don't worry. Follow me. Messiah gently comforted Huamian. She supported her and led her through the long corridor to a spacious room. Huamin was surprised to find that the tunnel was always changing. Every time they walked, it was different. Although they all looked the same, the destination was different. Some went to the main hall, Linya's room, and the place where he had dinner with Xiao Yin and his father that day. Huamin had such a good memory, but he still got lost here. She knew that there was something strange going on. However, Huamin didn't ask further. Even if he did, Messiah wouldn't say much. Huamin was surprised when he entered the room. It was like a complete obstetrics clinic with all kinds of equipment. And they were all the most advanced. There were a few pieces of equipment that she had only seen in photos. They were all medical equipment with sky-high prices. She heard that they were newly developed this year. But Linya actually had both. Messiah, why is Linya doing this? Is there a pregnant woman here? Huamian curiously touched the equipment she was familiar with. No, Messiah only casually denied it. She was still unwilling to say more about too many things. Miss Mian, please lie down. I'll make it for you. I'll do it myself. Although Huamin knew that Messiah had never hurt him, he was still worried and wanted to do the scan himself. Then, he would print out the results, sure. Messiah smiled and turned on the ultrasound machine. She handed it to Huamin. This was probably the most advanced ultrasound machine. There was no need to apply that cold ointment. It used a round disc in the shape of a shower head to slowly swim against her stomach. It was like a suction cup. Huamin let go of his hand. The thing slowly swam around on its own. It was very magical. Suddenly, the little guy in her stomach moved. Chapter 4371. Oh, you scared me. Huamin was a little nervous. The little guy must have heard the noise and was woken up. Messiah said with a smile. Huamin heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the baby was fine. He fell asleep just now. Look at how cute he is. Can you see what he looks like? Huamin was pleasantly surprised. Yes, this color ultrasound is combined with a four-dimensional camera. I can clearly see the baby's appearance. Does he have an umbilical cord around his neck? Huamin was a little worried. Not at all. He's very smart. He protects himself very well. Huamin smiled. I'll print it out for you. Okay, and the photo? I want to see it too. Okay. When Messiah showed Huamin the photo of the little guy's brain, tears welled up in her eyes. He's so ugly. Huamin was actually very happy and sweet. How is he ugly? He's very beautiful. He looks a little like you. He's ugly if he looks like me. How nice would it be if he looked like Dad? Huamin sighed. But didn't they say that daughters look like their fathers and sons look like their mothers? Yes, that's the case in China. Huamin looked at the photo and held it carefully as if it was his treasure. Miss Mian, don't worry now. Let's go out. There's radiation here. I'm afraid it's not good for the baby. Okay. Messiah accompanied Mian back to the room. There was no night or day here. Ever since Huamin came, he had never gone out and seen the sun. Fortunately, there was a clock in the room, so he could tell the time and calculate the time. On the way back, Messiah helped Huamin to the door. She saw Linya standing there. She was wearing a white crystal dress. She was always as beautiful as a goddess, so distant. Master, Messiah hurriedly bowed. Huamin looked at her warily. Where did you go? Linya smiled fakely. Master, it's Miss Mun, Messiah wanted to explain, but before she could finish, a slap landed on her face. This was the first time Huamin had seen Linya fight. She was very fast, just like Layla. Before he could see clearly, there were 2 palm prints on Messiah's face. Moreover, looking at the mark, it seemed that he had used a lot of force. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so red and swollen. Did I ask you? Who asked you to blabber? Since when did you become so bold? In an instant, Linya returned to her original position. It was as if nothing had happened. My lord, this subordinate knows his mistake. Messiah quickly knelt down. She was terrified. This was also the first time Huamin had seen Linya lose her temper. She was simply too temperamental. Why did you hit Messiah? I asked her to bring me there. Huamin blamed himself and stood in front of Messiah, afraid that she would be slapped by Linya again. If a servant is disobedient, I naturally have to teach her a lesson. Mian, did you do an ultrasound? How is it? What does the baby look like? Let me see. Linya smiled and reached out her hand to Huamin. Do you still care about this? Of course, he's my little grandson. For some reason, every time Linya smiled or spoke gently, Huamin felt exceptionally strange. You don't have to worry. Do you have anything else to say? If not, please go back. I'm going to bed. Huamin didn't want to continue talking to Linya. Chapter 4372. However, Linya didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. Instead, she beckoned with her hand. Huamin threw the baby photo in his hand towards Linya. It was like a scene from a supernatural movie. Linya picked up the photo and looked at it before looking at Huamin. Not bad. The little guy looks like you. Although he's not that good-looking, he's quite good-looking. You miss your due date, right? Does it have anything to do with you? Of course it does. Linya, either let me go or kill me. What kind of person are you to put me under house arrest like this? You even put Dad and Yin under house arrest. You're a demoness. Miss Mian, don't say it. Messiah knelt on the ground and kept tugging at Huamin's skirt, reminding him not to anger Linya like this. It's okay. Let her say it. I'm willing to listen. Linya waved her hand. She didn't seem to mind Huamin saying such vicious words. Linya, you keep saying that you care about me, your biological daughter, and your grandson. Then let me go, and let Dad and Yin go. If you're willing to stop, I believe they'll forgive you. The 4 of us can live a good life together. Let go of your legend of immortality. Okay. Huamin didn't expect to persuade Linya to give up her great cause with just a few words. However, she wanted to give it a try. It was better than not saying anything. If Linya wasn't so stubborn, she might really be willing to give it a try and accept her, even though she wasn't likable. Go on. Go on. Linya looked at Huamin with interest with a smile on her face that no one could see through. Huamin pointed at the baby photo. He's just a little life. He was about to be born safely, but because of the psycho you created, Layla, an explosion in Yunnan, he and I almost died. Look at you. How could you kill your own daughter? I'm afraid there's no mother like you in the world. I used to think that since Dad loved you so much, you should be a very good woman. In Yan's and my memories, you were perfect. How could you be like this? Mian, what do you think is the most important thing in your life? Money, status, ability, and power? Linya asked her. No, my family is the most important thing in my life. But they will die eventually. Once they're all dead, what will you have left? Humans have their limits. They will die sooner or later. They will die, and so will I. Dying, isn't this a very normal thing? But what if Mommy can keep you alive? Is this what you mean by immortality? Huamin asked. He still felt that it was nonsense. Mian asked Messiah, how old is she? Linya looked at Huamin and then at Messiah, who was kneeling on the ground. Huamin tilted his head and looked at Messiah. Any Messiah, how old are you? Huamin trusted this maid a little. After interacting with her for the past few days, he found that she was actually a very gentle person. Messiah didn't dare to speak. Her fingers trembled slightly. Messiah, tell her the truth. It's okay. She'll know sooner or later. Miss Mian, I was born in 1836. After Messiah said this, Huamin burst out laughing. Any Messiah, stop fooling around. Okay. Miss Mian, I'm not fooling around. You were born in 1836, so it's 2017. Doesn't that mean you're 181 years old? Huamin found it funny, but as she laughed, she felt that something was wrong. Messiah and Linya didn't find it funny. Instead, they looked at her seriously. Chapter 4373. Mian, do you think it's funny? But it's not a joke. Whether you believe it or not, it's true. That's impossible. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the longest lifespan of a human is 130 or 140 years old. How can you be 181 years old? You don't look like one at all. You don't have any wrinkles on your face. Aunt Messiah looks like she's only 40 years old. Huamin immediately denied this. Miss Mian, I swear on my life. I swear to you that what I said is true. If I lie to you, I'll die a horrible death. Aunt Messiah, I've always trusted you. You can't lie to me like this. I'm not a 3-year-old child. Mian, Messiah, didn't lie to you. When I picked her up, she was indeed 39 years old. She was almost beaten to death by her black husband when he was drunk. I saved her, so she's been with me ever since. Wait. Haha, you said you saved her? Huamin sneered. Linya nodded. Which year? 1875. Linya and Messiah said in unison. Messiah continued. I'll never forget the summer of 1875. I thought I was going to die. Finn smashed my head with a beer bottle. I felt pain all over my body, and the ground was covered in blood. Master saved me and helped me kill Finn. Then, Linya, how old are you? Huamin felt like he could hear his own heartbeat. Messiah said that she was born in 1836 and was 181 years old. Linya saved the 39-year-old Messiah in 1875. Then, something terrifying happened. How old was Linya? After Huamin asked the question, Messiah didn't dare to speak. She cautiously glanced at her lord. She did not know what her lord meant. Was she willing to tell Huamin her real age? Linya only paused for 5 seconds. Then, she smiled at Huamin and said, Mian, I'm sorry. Mian, I was born in 1665. Ha, so you're 352 years old this year? Huamin was amused. It was as if this was the funniest thing he had ever heard in his life. Linya remained silent. Huamin continued, if it's 1665 AD, we're still in the Qing dynasty. Linya, don't tell me you're from the Qing dynasty. Did you transmigrate to modern times? You've read too many novels, Mian. I didn't transmigrate. I've lived for a long time. Master, there's too much information. Let's tell Miss Mian slowly. I'm afraid she won't be able to handle it. Messiah seemed to have some concerns. However, Linya remained calm. Mian is very smart. She only needs to think about it to know what's going on. Huamin looked at the two of them and smiled. Are you done with your story? If you're done, I'm going back to sleep. With that, Huamin walked toward his room. Mian, Linya suddenly called out to her. Huamin stopped in his tracks. Mian, I was indeed born in 1665 AD. In 1665 AD, which is the 4th year of Kangshi's reign, on the 2nd day of March, I was born in a manor in the suburbs near the capital. I was the only child of my family because my siblings before me all died within a month of birth. In order to save my life, my parents, who were your grandparents, carry me to a nearby Taoist temple, and beg the famous Taoist priest Bai He to write a talisman for me to save my life. Linya, your story is very melodramatic. I don't want to hear it, Huamin said contemptuously. Chapter 43-74. Faced with Huamin's disrespect and contempt, Linya still smiled faintly. Mian, if you think it's a melodramatic story, then treat it as a story. I remember that in the year I was born, 1665 AD, your grandma told me that in March of that year, there was a large-scale earthquake near the capital. At that time, technology wasn't as advanced yet, and everyone was terrified. Several parts of the solid city walls even collapsed. At the same time, there was a violent storm, and the walls and houses collapsed. Everyone fled, and even the Kangxi Emperor and the Empress Dowager evacuated to the suburbs and lived in temporary tents. They were afraid that there would be aftershocks. In that era, people were always superstitious. After I learned a lot from my master in the Taoist temple, I understood that it was actually the rulers of the Qing dynasty who killed people indiscriminately and committed too many sins. They inhumanely slaughtered the Han people. That's why the disaster fell from the sky. But the ones who suffered were the common people. Linya, if you were really born in 1665, then you're more than 300 years old now. You're still alive, and you're not old. Then, are you a monster? Did you eat the flesh of Tang Sung? Or did you eat the longevity pill that was buried with Emperor Qin? Huamin felt that this matter was too ridiculous, so he asked this question in a mocking tone. Linya smiled again. However, she didn't continue this topic. She gently placed the ultrasound photo in Huamin's hand. Was it a psychological effect? Every time Huamin touched Linya's fingers, he felt a bone-chilling coldness without any human warmth. Therefore, Huamin once suspected that Linya was a clone. She wasn't the real deal. After all, after coming here, he had seen too many mysteries. Even Hua Xiqian, who had been blown to pieces, could be revived by Linya. What couldn't a monster like her do? Huamin held the photo. He lowered his head and didn't look at Linya. He hated seeing her face. Mian, the baby won't be waiting for long. Mommy is looking forward to the arrival of my grandson. Ha! Are you trying to get my child again? Huamin sneered. How can you think of your mother like that? I really like this baby. Huamin didn't want to argue with Linya anymore. He went straight into the room and slammed the door. Outside, Master, you told Miss Mian. Messiah didn't expect it to be so sudden. Her master had told her everything. Messiah had even forgotten how long she had lived with her master in this world. Everyone wants to live forever. After Mian figures it out, she'll come and beg me. After all, no one wants to die or grow old. But men can keep changing, right? Linya's smile was eerie and terrifying as she walked away. City Qin Shu was in the room where Granny and Xiaoling lived, waiting for Granny to plant a goo worm on him. He had thought that it would be an earth-shattering event. When he saw his grandmother come out with a black box the size of a matchbox, Qin Shu realized that he had thought too much. It wasn't as ridiculous as what was shown on TV, nor was it as mysterious as what was written in those supernatural novels. Little Qin, sit down cross-legged. Yes, Granny. In a while, I'll put the goo worm into your body. No matter how painful or uncomfortable it is, don't move. Goo worms like the one-heart goo are extremely timid. I'm afraid that if you move too much, you'll scare it away. Once it enters your body and comes out, if it sees light, it'll turn into ashes. And after so many years, I only have one goo worm. So, it's now or never. Unexpectedly, Granny was so old, but her logic and thinking were extremely clear. Qin Shu nodded and sat down cross-legged as Granny said. Chapter 43-75. Little Qin. Yes, Granny. Close your eyes. Yes. Qin Shu closed his eyes in complete trust and sat cross-legged on a cushion on the floor of the living room. The mat was filled with dense runes and incantations. Ling, bring me some water, Granny instructed. Then, Ling brought out a bowl of water. Granny held a talisman in her hand. She didn't use any auxiliary tools to light it. The yellow talisman ignited on its own in her hand. Then, Granny poured the ashes of the talisman into the water. Strangely, the water didn't look dirty at all. It was still a bowl of water. Ling had seen Granny cast spells before, so she didn't make a fuss. Instead, he simply stood by the side and watched intently. Ling go into the room. Granny, I'll learn from you too. After so many years, this is the first time I've seen the same heart goo. The little girl seemed to be very interested in these metaphysics. No, go into the house. I'm enough for the family. Ling, don't walk the same path as Granny Goo. The old woman scolded sternly. Xiao Ling pursed her lips and reluctantly returned to her room. Little Qin, drink this bowl of water. The old woman handed a bowl of water to Qin Chu. Qin Chu closed his eyes and drank the water without hesitation. At this point, Qin Chu knew better than anyone else that he shouldn't doubt the people he used. Since he had chosen to believe Granny, he couldn't hesitate anymore. Therefore, the old lady liked Qin Chu's boldness. After Qin Chu drank the water, his body began to undergo subtle changes. His entire body was emitting a kind of heat. In an instant, it was a high temperature. It was as if his body was running a high fever of 38 or 39 degrees. However, he still didn't say anything. He just closed his eyes and waited for everything. The old lady slowly opened the black box. Then, as she chanted an incantation, she took out a dagger and cut a small wound on Qin Chu's left wrist. Blood immediately flowed out. 5 seconds later, a red bug crawled out of the black box. Its body was transparent, as if the red liquid inside was swaying as it crawled. It was especially strange. The old lady continued to chant. Qin Chu remained motionless. The red bug followed the blood and crawled towards Qin Chu's wrist. Then it went straight into the wound that had just been cut open by the dagger. At that moment, the pain was unbearable. Qin Chu only felt a piercing pain in his entire arm, but he still didn't move. He kept Grandma's words in mind. After the goo worm entered, the old lady took out a yellow talisman and sealed the wound. Then he continued to chant the incantation. Qin Chu could even feel something crawling up his left arm. Every step was an unforgettable pain. Gradually, beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. The whole process lasted about 20 minutes. Just as Qin Chu felt that he couldn't hold on any longer and was about to faint from the pain, Lin Fan's eyes lit up. The kind of pain magically disappeared. Little Qin, you can open your eyes now. Hearing Grandma's words, Qin Chu slowly opened his eyes. He subconsciously looked at his left wrist that had just been cut by the knife. He couldn't believe his eyes. The wound had disappeared as if nothing had happened. His body was no longer hot and had returned to its usual state. Grandma, the goo worm is already entered. Next, I'll cast a spell to find him. You might have to suffer a little later. It's okay, I'm not afraid. Qin Chu nodded firmly. Ling, come out for a moment. Grandma called out to her granddaughter again. Chapter 4376. Grandma, help Grandma hold this, the old lady said as she pointed at a large world map on the ground. Ling spread out the map and held it up with both hands. The old lady took out the dagger again and looked at Qin Chu. When I start chanting, close your eyes and think of your wife. All the happy times you and your wife have. In short, it must be everything about her. The stronger the obsession, the stronger the power. Okay. Qin Chu nodded excitedly. He could already feel that Mian wasn't far away from him. It'll still hurt a little. You have to bear with it. I can do it. Don't worry, Grandma. This pain was nothing compared to the pain he felt when he lost Mian. Therefore, to Qin Chu, any physical pain was bearable. Then, the old lady chanted another spell. She cut open Qin Chu's left index finger. Then, as if he was possessed, he kept moving his finger on the world map. Blood kept seeping out. Ling held the map and didn't dare to move. Qin Chu couldn't help but point randomly. He knew that it wasn't his own strength, but the goo worm's guidance. He didn't care about the tearing pain in his body. He just focused and tried his best to think about Mian and everything that happened when they were together. 5 minutes passed. In the end, his fingers settled on a point and stopped. No matter how much the old lady chanted, his finger didn't move. Grandma, it should be done, Ling reminded her softly. Then, the old lady stopped chanting. She opened her eyes. She saw Qin Shu's finger leave a six-petal-shaped bloodstain. Yes, it's here. Qin, you can open your eyes now. Excited, Qin Shu opened his eyes and looked at the location on the map, slightly serious. He had never thought that Mian would be in such a place, inside Su Yu's private mansion. Su Yu was drinking beer and watching the NBA All-Star game. Han Yueyao called at this time. Seeing that it was her, Su Yu picked it up. President Su, yes. Did you ask the company to transfer the money to me? Yes. Why did you do this? Han Yueyao had mixed feelings when she saw the message of 5 million yuan in her account. She knew that her sudden announcement of her withdrawal from the entertainment industry had caused Su Yu a great loss. So how could he have the nerve to ask for any reward? Maybe it wouldn't even be enough to pay for the breach of contract. It's not a small amount. You should stop while you're ahead. You? Huh. I've deducted the rest. These are for your retirement. MHM, Su Yu said in a joking tone. Han Yueyao wanted to cry. Her voice was choked with sobs. President Su, why are you so nice to me? I'm not worth it, really. I'm just a person who gave up halfway. Dreams and perseverance don't matter to me. Don't cry. It's almost the new year. It's not auspicious. Once you get the money, go buy some New Year goodies for your parents, like new clothes or something. President Su, thank you. Han Yueyao tried hard not to cry. After returning to Jing City, she missed Su Yu almost every day, but she knew that once she took this step, she wouldn't be able to go back. Chapter 4377. Han Yueyao also knew that it must be Su Yu's idea to receive this huge sum of money from Imperial Star. 5 million yuan wasn't a lot for Su Yu. It wasn't enough to buy a big house in Jing City. But for Han Yueyao's family, it was a large sum of money that could be used for many things. The moment she received the money, she even imagined asking her parents to sell their small house in Jing City. With this huge sum of money, the three of them could go to a small coastal city in the southeast region and buy a seaside house with a balcony. Then, they could open a happy snack bar downstairs and make some special snacks in Jing City to sell to all kinds of people. Her wish of many years was easily fulfilled by Su Yu with a huge sum of money. Don't thank me. I'm an evil capitalist, and I've earned a lot from you. Su Yu couldn't stand being praised and refused to admit his good deeds. Don't say that. You're a cooked duck. You're so stubborn. Damn it, you called Boss Chin a duck. Give me back the 5 million yuan. Han Yueyao immediately smiled through her tears. No, no, no. You want to take back the money that's in my hands. In your dreams. Okay, that's right. It's New Year's Eve. You should smile more. You look so good when you smile. Su Yu, if you can't find a wife in the future, and I can't get married. Su Yu coughed lightly and waited for her to continue. He thought Han Yueyao would say that he would marry her when the time came. Unexpectedly, the girl changed the topic. Why don't we become sworn sisters? We can form a team called Brother and Sister, Han Yueyao said with a smile. Su Yu, shouldn't it be one who can't find a wife and the other can't get married? Su Yu had read this kind of plot in romance novels. So, what the hell was this about becoming sworn sisters? Ha ha, in your dreams. Who wants to marry you? You've been flirting with countless girls these years. You were too arrogant when you were young. When you're old, your kidneys are failing. I don't want you, Su Yu. Damn it. Is this something an unmarried girl like you should say? It's embarrassing. Su Yu was exasperated. Anyway, all kinds of disdain. Damn girl. Don't let me catch you. Or I'll knock your head off, Su Yu teased her. Come on, come on. You're welcome to knock. My head has been feeling itchy recently. Maybe I need a beating. Come and try. Han Yueyao was completely provoking him. Su Yu planned to chat with Han Yueyao for a while. After all, she was a nice girl. After Han Yueyao's departure, he didn't want to Yueyao's attitude. However, he had calls. Looking at Qin Shu's incoming call, Su Yu's expression turned grim. Big Yao Yao, I'll talk to you later. I have something to do. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Han Yueyao hung up happily. She didn't know that this was the last call she had with Suyu. From then on, Han Yueyao couldn't contact Suyu again. She regretted countless times that she didn't shamelessly talk to Suyu more. She had so many things on her mind that she didn't have time to tell Suyu. Qin Chu. After hanging up, Suyu immediately picked up Qin Chu's call. Suyu, where are you? I'm at home. Wait for me. I'll be there soon. Then, Qin Chu hung up in a hurry, but with Suyu's understanding of Qin Chu, he knew that every time he called, it was for something important. Chapter 4378. It took Qin Chu almost 10 minutes to drive from his mother-in-law's house to Suyu's house. He really drove all the way. No one knew how excited he was at this moment. At Suyu's house, when Suyu opened the door for Qin Chu, he was shocked. You came so quickly. Were you near my house? No. Then where did you come from? Gongxi Road. Fuck. You flew here. Suyu was shocked. Qin Chu didn't give him a chance to be stunned and pushed the door open. Where's the study? Qin Chu asked him. The second floor. Suyu pointed upstairs, and Qin Chu went straight to the second floor. Suyu followed behind Qin Chu with a dumbfounded expression. He didn't know why this guy came in such a hurry, and was also confused by what he saw. However, he knew that Qin Chu must have something important to discuss with Suyu. Therefore, this guy didn't dare to follow him. Qin Chu pushed open the study and walked in. He found a piece of paper and a pen. Suyu didn't understand at first. When he saw what Qin Chu had written on the paper, he suddenly understood what was going on. Qin Chu didn't want to use any electronic equipment to communicate with him. Suyu quickly closed the door. It seemed like Qin Chu's matter was very important. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stopped trusting the anti-eavesdropping equipment. After Suyu closed the door, he quickly returned to the table. He saw Qin Chu write on the white paper, I found Mian. Suyu was about to speak when he suddenly remembered this special communication method. Thus, he quickly raised the pen and asked, Where is she? Qin Chu wrote a string of English words and even drew the map's logo himself. Suyu was shocked. No way. That place isn't suitable for humans to live in. The environment is so bad. How could it be? I'm sure it's here. Qin Chu wrote. Then let's go find her quickly. What I need to do? Suyu wrote. Qin Chu picked up the pen and replied, Now you have to go to this place as a traveler and find out what's going on there. I'll find a way to distract the people who are watching us, and then I'll go find you. All right, then I'll set off immediately. Even at the fastest speed, it'll take at least 20 hours. Suyu looked at the place that Qin Chu had drawn. He had never been to this place before. North of Earth, the northernmost point, the mysterious Arctic glacier that was said to not see the sun for several months. Qin Chu wrote again, Remember what I said. Keep in touch with me at all times. Don't act rashly and alert the enemy. Be careful. I know. Just like this, the two men in the study, you one stroke, I stroke one stroke after another. Although the method of writing was ancient and clumsy, it was true that no matter how sophisticated and advanced a weapon was, it couldn't be eavesdropped. It was a good idea. Half an hour later, Qin Chu walked out of the study and left Suyu's house in a hurry. Suyu hurriedly packed his luggage and set off into the place that Qin Chu had drawn. Suyu was a person who didn't like to waste time. Every time he went out, he would be in a hurry. But this time, he unexpectedly went home before going to the airport. He especially said goodbye to Mrs. Su, who was also his mother. It was almost the Chinese New Year, and Lady Su was hanging some red lanterns with the word Fu with the servants at home. Lady Su was very happy that her son had suddenly returned. You're back at the right time. Come, your calligraphy is good. Write the word Fu for me. I want to hang it up. Lady Su smiled and held her son's hand. If it was in the past, Su would have promised, in the small wholesale market, 10 yuan for 10 pieces. You still want me to write it? Isn't it tiring? But this time he didn't. Chapter 4379. He obediently picked up the brush and the red paper his mother had prepared. Then, he wrote the word fortune seriously and properly. It had to be said that Suyu's calligraphy was very beautiful and strong. Lady Su smiled and held her son's arm. She was very happy. Are you? You've grown up in the blink of an eye. Every year, I asked you to write a fortune for me, but you refused every year. This year, I finally fulfill my wish. It's so beautiful. When your father and grandfather come back, I'll show it to them. They'll definitely be very happy. Mom, Happy New Year. Suyu held his mother's face in his hands and kissed her on the forehead. Lady Su was surprised by the sudden kiss. What are you doing? Are you happy today? Are you drunk? Lady Su thought that her son was drunk and even carefully grabbed his clothes to see if there was any smell of alcohol on him. So you didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Mom, I didn't drink. I really didn't drink. That's not right. Then why are you so obedient today? You haven't been so obedient since you were 6 years old. Suyu was speechless. Madam, our boss is going out. He came to say goodbye to you. And was talkative. His words instantly made the smile on Lady Su's face disappear without a trace. You going out? Lady Su looked at her son and questioned him with a gloomy expression. Yes, it's almost a new year. Why are you still running around? Mom, I'm going on a trip with a few big clients in North America. It's related to my billion-yuan business. Suyu made up a story. You only care about money, just like your father. Our family hasn't had a peaceful new year for a long time. You not go? Lady Su's eyes were filled with grievance, just like a little girl. Suyu's heart ached, but he knew that saving Huamin was extraordinary. Therefore, he couldn't mention it to anyone, and thought that Suyu was really going to the North Pole for fun. He didn't know the purpose of this trip. I really can't. Mom, I promise you. I'll try my best to come back early, okay? Lady Su didn't say anything, but she was obviously unhappy. Suyu continued to coax her as he hugged his mother's shoulders. Mom, I'll buy you pretty clothes, dresses, and necklaces when I come back. I don't want it. Lady Su was angry. Then I'll bring you a pretty daughter-in-law. That's fine, Lady Su said hurriedly. Ha ha ha. You're really greedy. You said it yourself, that you'd bring home a pretty daughter-in-law. I think Yao's pretty good. I called her, and she said she went to another city to shoot a movie. I thought she wouldn't have time to come home for the new year, so she came to our house. Let your grandpa and dad see her and give her some advice. It was obvious that Lady Su liked girls like Han Yueyao. However, Su didn't say that Han Yueyao had returned to Jing City, quit Imperial Star, and left the entertainment industry. Firstly, he wasn't sure if Han Yueyao was just saying out of anger or if she really wanted to leave. He was afraid that if he announced it, she wouldn't be able to come back in the future. Secondly, Nialing Xuan's movie was in theaters, and Imperial Star couldn't have any negative news. Therefore, Suyu planned to announce it after the new year. President Su, it's almost time, and looked down at his watch and urged Suyu in a low voice. Suyu held his mother's hand reluctantly. Mom, don't be angry. Huh, I'll come back to celebrate the new year with you. We'll eat dumplings. Go. Come back early. Be careful. Okay, I will. Yeah. Remember to come home early. Lady Su had said this when Suyu was a soldier. Now, she said it again. But what she didn't know was that this time, Suyu would never come back. Chapter 4380. When Suyu left home, he did not know what he would face this time. He just suddenly felt that it was almost Chinese New Year, so he should inform his mother before going out. After leaving home, Suyu and then went straight to the airport. Suyu is a super rich person, so it was not strange for him to travel anywhere. The journey to the North Pole was very troublesome because it was sparsely populated. Other than explorers, very few tourists would go there. Suyu trusted Qin Chu completely. He knew that since Qin Chu had chosen the location, it should be right. Therefore, he really embarked on the journey to find Huamin without hesitation before boarding the plane. Suyu contacted Qin Chu to ensure that they had set off. Qin Chu then went to the villa in the suburbs. After being controlled, Layla was obviously much more obedient. Qin Chu looked around and saw that there was nothing unusual. Only then did he return home in relief. Then he contacted Xiao Fei, and Xiao Fei contacted Ian. All the forces gathered at the underwater palace in the North Pole. Qin Chu had indeed been monitored by Linya. This was also the reason why he did not go to the North Pole personally. He had to go to the North Pole. However, Qin Chu was waiting for the right opportunity. It was late at night. Qin Chu sat in the study again. This time, he was not sad or nostalgic. Qin Chu touched his chest. He knew that after being poisoned by the heart with Yugu, his life was completely linked to Huamin. If Huamin died, he would not live alone. Although this was very selfish, and people would say that he did not care about the feelings of the children. However, Qin Chu knew that in this life, he would live for Huamin. So what if he was selfish for once? Mian, we should meet soon. You and the children must wait for me. You must. Qin Chu's voice was rarely gentle. He knew that everything was not far away. No matter what Linya's goal was, they had to end it. Underwater Palace Linya sat on the chair with her long black hair draped over her shoulders. Messiah, what did you say about Layla? My lord, Miss Layla is under someone's control and has completely cut off contact with us. What about the spies we arranged? I can't contact them anymore. I don't know where they are, Messiah replied. Qin Chu, this kid has some skills. I'm curious too. Miss Layla is so powerful. How do they subdue her? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be possible. They shouldn't be able to lock her up. Miss Layla wouldn't be afraid of anesthesia. I just can't figure it out. Messiah had always thought that Layla was one of Lin Ya's most powerful test subjects. He thought that he was going to do something big, but he didn't expect that he would be taken down so easily. It was really surprising. Linya wasn't surprised. She smiled. You guys are underestimating Qin Chu. If he wasn't capable, Mian wouldn't be so stubborn as to follow him and not listen to me. My lord, what should we do now? Do we need to save Miss Layla? Why should we save her? She's just a piece of trash. Sure enough, Linya really had no feelings for Layla. Hearing that Qin Chu had subdued her, Linya planned to give up on this pawn. She wouldn't waste manpower to save her, but my lord has invested a lot of energy in Miss Layla all these years. If she's gone just like that, it would be a pity, Messiah said. That's not important anymore. Messiah, the most important thing now is the Red Demon. I just want old Lu to hand over the Red Demon. Chapter 4381. It seemed like the Red Demon was the most important thing to Linya at this moment. For this thing, Linya even deliberately sacrificed Layla or more pawns. Master, I think, why don't we let Miss Wamin meet the professor alone? What you mean is, Linya looked at Messiah and seemed to understand what she was thinking. What I mean is very simple. Give the father and daughter a chance to meet and let them both know your intentions. Even if they agree not to hand over the Red Demon in the end, you can remind the professor that Miss Mian is about to give birth and Miss Lu Yan's life is about to be frozen. Is he really willing to lose 2 daughters and grandchildren at once? Then I might as well threaten old Lu directly. Linya smiled. I think it's better to reason with him. What if the professor is angered by your threat and destroys the Red Demon? Wouldn't our plan fail? That's right, Messiah. You've become smarter. It's not that I've become smarter. I just can tell that the professor still has feelings for you. And Miss Mian isn't a heartless person. Okay, then let's do it your way. Okay, I'll do it now. Wait, Linya shouted. Messiah, turn around. Send someone to continue monitoring Qin Chu. I'm afraid that kid will play some tricks. Yes, master. It was ironic that Linya, who had always thought of herself as a god, was fearless and could even play with Professor Lu. However, she was a little worried about Qin Chu, afraid that Qin Chu would play some tricks. With Linya's instructions, Messiah specially arranged for Huamin to meet her father alone again, in a room full of white ice and mirrors. Huamin sat there quietly with her belly protruding. She had a strange phenomenon recently, which was that she hadn't dreamed for a long time. Ever since she came to this place, she rarely dreamed. It was as if every day was a blur. The child's lack of movement made her more and more uneasy. It had been more than 10 days. If she waited a few more days, it would be troublesome when it was 20 days old. She had been an obstetrician and gynecologist for so long, but she had never seen anyone give birth so late. Usually, Some children would suffocate in their mother's womb after a few days. Some had their umbilical cords tangled around their necks. Huamin would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night to touch his belly. As for the little guy, when he felt his mother's touch, he would give a little response and move lazily a few times. This way, Huamin would feel more at ease. However, Huamin himself sometimes wondered if he was pregnant with Ineza. Just as he was lost in his thoughts, the door opened. The professor was wearing a dark gray shirt and had white hair. "Dad." Huamin quickly stood up. The professor nodded. "You guys go ahead and talk. Just call me if you need anything." After Messiah sent the two of them into the secret room to meet, she carefully retreated. "Dad, how are you?" "Did that woman threaten you?" Huamin asked the professor. "Xiaoyu didn't threaten me." "Dad, I'm telling you, that woman is crazy. Do you know that? She told me yesterday that she's not human. Something about being born in 1665, more than 300 years old. Something about immortality." Huamian sent out all the information in one go. The professor just listened quietly. 10 minutes later, Huamin finished all this in one breath. Then he held the professor's hand and asked excitedly, "Dad, do you think Linya is crazy?" The professor still lowered his head and didn't say anything. "Dad, say something. What should we do now? We can't stay in this godforsaken place forever." Huamin was anxious. "Mian, how trustworthy do you think Linya's words are?" The professor asked Huamin. Chapter 4382. She's indeed full of lies. After hearing the professor's words, Huamin calmed down. She had been receiving messages from Linya for the past few days, and the amount of information almost drove her crazy, although she had never wanted to believe in the legend of immortality. However, if someone kept brainwashing her and instilling such thoughts into her, Huamin would indeed become crazy. Therefore, when she told her father this, she said it in a fantasy tone. However, the professor was still calm. Dad will think of a way to bring you and Yin out." "Dad, Yin wasn't born by Linya. She said that only I was born by you guys. She said that Yin was born from a clone of Linya, which is the corpse placed in the cave in Iceland. Actually, the real Linya never fainted. She's been alive all these years. At first, I was wondering why she was so good to me, but so cruel to Yin. Now, it seems that she's too vicious. She even cloned herself. Mian, this is all her side of the story. Don't be rash. Some things need to be settled." Seeing his daughter speak incoherently in a panic, the professor reminded her. "Dad, what do you mean, Mian? If we can help you and Yin escape, it's fine even if we have to hand over the red demon." "Dad, we can't give the red demon to Linya. Although I don't know what it is, seeing how desperate she is for it. It can't be anything good. Yin and I will be fine. Qin Shu will come and save us. Qin Shu and I have been together for so many years. Layla must be full of flaws. If Qin Shu finds out that it's fake, he will definitely come looking for us. Yeah, I think so too. I hope Chu can come as soon as possible." The professor agreed with Huamin. Qin Shu was never an ordinary person, so he would naturally discover Layla's identity. Then, he would definitely come looking for the real Huamin. "Mian, is the baby still not moving?" The professor looked at Huamin's stomach and asked worriedly. "Yes, not yet." Huamin lowered his head and subconsciously touched his stomach. How many days past the due date? Almost 20 days. How could this be? The professor frowned. Obviously, it was not a good sign that the baby had been in the mother's womb for more than 20 days. "Dad, don't worry. The little guy is fine. He communicates with me every day, and the fetal movement is normal. But we can't go on like this. I keep feeling that something is wrong." The professor was already a genius, but he still couldn't figure out what was wrong. He always felt that everything was so strange now. He couldn't describe what he was feeling, but the Linya and Mian in front of him were so real. But he couldn't tell what was wrong. This feeling was especially bad. The professor sat in the room in a daze, looking at the white crystal walls. He felt that this place, which was the underwater palace built by Linya, was very abnormal. It doesn't seem logical. To be able to build such a luxurious palace at the bottom of the sea, this isn't something that humans can achieve. Even if Linya was a genius, she couldn't have done something so dreamy. Dad, I think it's strange too, but I can't tell what it's like. What's wrong? Hearing the professor's words, Huamian had a subtle feeling in her heart. Chapter 4383. The flight to the North Pole only happened once a month, so Suyu chose to spend a lot of money to take a private plane. On the private plane, and stare at the sea below curiously. He didn't know the purpose of his boss's trip, but he vaguely felt that it wasn't simple. And you must be hungry. Come, my mother packed this for me before I left. She made the osmanthus cake herself. Let's eat a few pieces. Suyu felt bored and took out a square brocade box that his mother had handed him before he left. When he opened it, he saw that there were exquisite handmade snacks inside. Lady Su doted on her son and was nimble with her hands. Suyu felt warm. He reached out and picked up a piece of osmanthus cake. Suddenly, he found a small thing in the middle of the cake. What was this? Suyu was stunned. Boss, what is this? And saw it too and came over curiously. Suyu put down the cake and took out the little thing. He still remembered that when he left home, his mother had mysteriously given him something. She even reminded him to remember to eat the things inside. However, Suyu only felt that it was an ordinary snack. He did not expect there to be such a thing inside. Suyu picked up the thing and looked at it carefully. He realized that it looked like an amulet. It was cylindrical and very small, but it seemed to be densely engraved with scriptures. Boss, you have good eyesight. Look at what's written on it. What did Madam give you? And tried his best to see it clearly, but the words written on it were still a little off. Suyu held the mysterious cylinder and pointed it at the light outside the window of the plane. He looked carefully and saw the first few words clearly. It read, Namo. Ho luo na. Du luo yi. Fuck. What is this, boss? And was completely dumbfounded when he heard the incantation. Suyu, on the other hand, suddenly realized. Then, warmth rose in his heart. This is the scripture of the Buddhist's Great Compassion Mantra, Suyu said. Great Compassion Mantra? Shaolin was slightly taken aback. Yes, the Great Compassion Mantra is an extremely sacred mantra in Buddhism. Legend has it that it can subdue demons and is very powerful. It's a scripture that many eminent monks especially like to recite. My mother has been a Buddhist for many years. She eats vegetarian meals on the 1st and 15th of every month. She also especially likes to recite this scripture when she prays for blessings. It looks like this thing should be an amulet. The temple that my mother likes to go to the most is a very secretive one about 70 kilometers away from the western part of the city. It's called Burrow Temple. She would ask for a protective talisman for me almost every year, but I don't really believe in it, so I've always refused to bring it. She must have been afraid that I would refuse, so she secretly put it in the pastries. When Suyu said these words, there were tears in his eyes. When a son travels 1,000 miles, his mother worries. Wow, Madam is so nice to you. I'm so touched. Tears welled up in Anne's eyes. Lady Su is gentle by nature. She must have been afraid that her son would refuse to bring it, so she secretly stuffed it into the osmanthus cake. Now that he saw this thing, he no longer felt that it was superstitious. Instead, it was a mother's longing and blessings for her son. Suyu held the little thing tightly and wore it around his neck with tears in his eyes. Perhaps it was because he felt emotional, so he chanted softly, Namo Haloadna Doroi Namo Ahaya. Palyaji Emperor Shubalaya. Bodhi Samupoi. Mahasa Samupoi. Mahajunigia. Suyu is talented and intelligent. There were only 84 sentences in the Great Compassion Mantra. He had memorized it since he was young, but he refused to say it. Now, for the sake of his mother's deep feelings for him, he wanted to say a few words to repay his mother's blessings. Unexpectedly, as he chanted the Great Compassion Mantra, lightning suddenly flashed and thunder rumbled in the fine weather. Almost instantly, the weather changed. The plane was also affected and began to sway. Boss, what's going on? Shaolin was scared silly. Chapter 4384. To be honest, Suyu was also dumbfounded at that time. After so many years of flying, he had never encountered such a strange thing. Therefore, in his panic, he didn't want to continue chanting the Great Compassion mantra. He stood up and looked out the window. However, something strange happened again. Almost in an instant, the weather became better again, as if everything that had happened was just an illusion. Fuck, what's going on? Did we encounter a space-time tunnel? Are we going to transmigrate? And wiped his sweat in fright. Calm down. Just now, we should have encountered a very strong airflow. Suyu explained. Airflow? Is that an airflow? Is it a tornado? And felt that the plane was about to fall apart. Could it be as simple as an airflow? However, the weather was better and the plane was stable again. Suyu stood up and opened the cockpit door. How is it? Are there any problems? He asked the captain in English. No. The captain seemed to be calm. Suyu heaved a sigh of relief. It was a false alarm. Then, the two of them sat back down and ate the osmanthus cake that Lady Sue had brought. When Suyu left, his original phone number was already turned off. He only made a call and asked the vice president to manage some trivial matters of the company. Then he used a card that Qin Shu had given him and only planned to contact Qin Shu through a single line. In the underwater palace, Linya was in the main hall. She looked up through the white crystal as if she was looking at something. Master. Messiah walked over and knelt on the ground. Someone is approaching us. Who? Linya didn't say anything, but her expression didn't look too good. I originally planned to have fun with them, but now it seems like I can't. I have to get the thing as soon as possible. Otherwise, I won't be able to explain it to him. The him that Linya mentioned seemed to be someone that even Linya was afraid of. Master, what do you want to do? Bring old Lu here. I want to talk to him about something important. Yes, Master. Hearing that she wanted to see Professor Lu, Messiah immediately went to bring him over. When Professor Lu arrived at the main hall, he observed the buildings along the way. Each of these crystals cost tens of thousands of dollars. But Linya used it to build a palace. It had to be said that this was too outrageous. Professor Lu had always been interested in advanced technology, especially natural ores. When he walked into the main hall, he saw Linya. Professor Lu finally came back to his senses. Xiaoya, are you looking for me? Professor Lu still had a warm smile on his face. He kept calling her Xiaoya. Old Lu, are you bored here? I'm not bored. With you and our daughter here, this place is just like home. But even if you're not bored, Yin and Mion are too. We can't stay here forever, right? Professor Lu only smiled and didn't answer Linya's question. Old Lu, you're very smart. I can't hide anything from you, so I won't beat around the bush. I need the red demon, and I know it's in your hands. Hand it over, and I'll get what I want. Everyone can leave this place. Our family of 4 can continue to live happily, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Xiaoya, what do you want the red demon for? I need the materials inside to synthesize something. Linya said. What do you want to synthesize? I could just help you. Why go through so much trouble? No need. Just give it to me. I only want the red demon, old Lu. What if I don't give it to you? Professor Lu knew that Linya's patience was running out. If he didn't take it out, she would reveal her true colors. Chapter 4385. Old Lu, we're husband and wife. Don't force me. Linya looked at him with a deep look in her eyes. I've never forced you. You've always been forcing me. When you captured Yin and Mion here, you thought of using this method to force me, right? Linya was silent for 5 seconds. Old Lu, I don't want to, but I really need the red demon. What if I don't give it to you? Professor Lu seemed to be pushing Linya to her limits. Then, I can only kill Yin first and then Mion, including the child in Mion's stomach. That's 3 lives. Your loved ones, old Lu. You've dedicated your entire life to scientific research. You're not a good father or a good grandfather. Now, if you don't hand over the red demon because of your own selfishness, then you'll lose the 3 people you love the most. Linya, do you know what you're talking about? Professor Lu's voice changed. It was no longer as gentle and patient as before. Of course I know. You keep saying that you want to kill them. Aren't they your children? I can have a lot of children, but there's only one red demon. I need the red demon. I need it more than anything else. So don't provoke me, old Lou. I've tried to ease our relationship. I set up a dinner party so that the four of us could reunite. I've taken good care of Mion and made dumplings for her personally. I've never been angry at her or punished her when she said mean things to me. How can I not love her? I also want the best result. That's why I said that you'd better be good and give it to me so that everyone can be happy, or else you'll regret it. For that thing, you can harm your own daughter. You're really heartless. Professor Lou stared at Linya with disappointment in his eyes. If you'd rather the children die than hand over the red demon, then what's the difference between you and me? You're even more vicious than me. Old Lou, we're all adults. Don't play word games and don't play the emotional card. I'm being very straightforward. Give me what I want, and I'll let you go. Yeah, I don't care about the red demon. Really, it's useless to me all these years. I just want the four of us to be together. If Yin, Mion, I don't go out for the rest of our lives and stay in this underwater palace with you. Don't insist on the red demon, okay? Our family of 3 and 4 will live happily ever after. Linya didn't expect Professor Lou to say such a thing. Professor Lou's words were simple. If she didn't want the red demon, they wouldn't go out. Everyone's life's eyes. Each of them took a step back. But how could Linya agree? She definitely wouldn't agree. Old Lou, what are you thinking? The intelligence quotient of our family of 4 is greater than that of an entire country. Are we 4 geniuses going to stay here forever? Wouldn't it be a pity to waste the brains of geniuses? Shouldn't we go out and do something big? What do you mean by something big? For example, do you still need to ask me? Didn't you already know the meaning of the red demon's existence more than 20 years ago? Old Lou, you know what it represents, and you know how powerful it is. I dare do what you don't dare to do. The red demon won't be of much use to you. Give it to me. I won't let you down. Old Lou, tell me, where is it? Linya approached Professor Lou. Chapter 4386. Faced with Linya's coercion, Professor Lou suddenly smiled. It was as if he knew from the moment he stepped into this place that Linya would treat him like this. She wouldn't be able to control her temper and wouldn't have the patience to continue acting with them. Linya had gone through so much trouble to gather the professor, Mion, and Yin here. She wasn't here for a family reunion. She was here for the red demon. Professor Lou knew very well what the red demon meant to anyone, especially those with wild ambitions. Otherwise, he and Yin wouldn't have been hunted down for so many years. What are you laughing at? Seeing Professor Lou laugh, Linya was a little annoyed. Yeah, if I told you that the red demon isn't in my hands now, would you believe me? Linya was slightly stunned after hearing that. How dare you trick me? Linya glared at him. No, I wouldn't carry something like the red demon with me. After all, I'm the target of conspirators all over the world. If I'm caught, wouldn't all my efforts be for naught? Then where's the red demon? Linya didn't seem to want to beat around the bush anymore. She was determined to get the red demon. She knew that Professor Lou wouldn't hand it over so easily. That was why she used Huamin, Lu Yin, and the child in her belly as a threat. At this moment, Su Yu and An arrived at the North Pole on an expert plane. Boss, put on your down jacket first. The temperature down there will definitely surprise us. And was a meticulous boy. He had taken care of Su Yu all these years. Not only was he his bodyguard, but he was also his nanny. Therefore, he had checked the temperature here before coming to the North Pole. Seeing that it was so cold, he quickly took 2 down jackets. Su Yu calmly put on his down jacket, gloves, hat, goggles, and other layers of armor. Then, 2 people got off the plane. The captain often sent explorers over and had some experience. Mr. Su, this is the supply station at the North Pole, which is also a place to rest. There's water and food here. I suggest you tour around here. Remember not to go too far. This place looks beautiful, but there are many dangers hidden. The captain spoke fluent English. Danger? I was stunned. For example, Suyu looked at the captain and asked, "Polar bear, Suyu," and was speechless. "Anyway, I wish you good luck. No matter what you do, I'll come here to pick you up in 3 days. This is a request from the travel company. This place is very barren, and there's no place to travel. Even if you're exploring, 3 days is enough. Good luck." In the end, the captain patted Suyu on the shoulder, said a few words, and left. It was Suyu's first time coming to such a desolate place. The North Pole was currently in the polar night, which meant that it was night for 24 hours, and it was continuous. After Suyu and Ann got off the plane, they entered the supply station. It was a place jointly created by the government of a certain country and an international tourism company to provide food and accommodation for tourists. The first was to protect against the cold. The second was to protect against ferocious animals, and there were also some emergency medicine boxes. There were 2 clean and tidy beds inside, and was probably a little tired from the flight. He put the luggage on the ground and lay on the bed to catch his breath. "This is the first time I've traveled so far. Haha, boss, do you want to take me to the South Pole next time to play with penguins or something?" Hearing In's words, Suyu chuckled. This kid was quite optimistic. After laughing, Suyu took out his special phone and called Qin Shu. "Hello, Qin Shu, I'm here," Suyu said. Chapter 4387. It's been a long journey. Qin Shu was touched that Suyu had gone to the North Pole before Qin Shu. Let's not talk about the degree of danger on the other side. Let's just talk about the torment of the transportation. Ordinary people couldn't stand it. It was almost the traditional Chinese New Year in China. Suyu didn't say anything when Qin Shu asked him to. How could Qin Shu not know about this? He had considered asking Rick and Xiao Fei to come over directly. However, compared to Suyu, Rick's and Xiao Fei's identities were too complicated. He was afraid that they would be targeted. There would be too many people, and they would alert the enemy. Suyu had the simplest background, so he probably wouldn't attract Lin Ye's attention. Xiao Fei had also received Qin Shu's message and was on his way. However, he asked Suyu to scout the way first. "It's not hard, as long as we can find Mian. It's the polar night here, and I don't have any detectors on me. I plan to rest for a while and go to the place you mentioned. The phone I gave you can locate and navigate. You have to be careful." Okay. The conversation between the 2 men was extremely short. Suyu was the first to arrive at the designated location. Qin Shu felt that he was getting closer and closer to Mian. However, he felt more and more uneasy. This feeling was extremely terrible. Suyu and lay down for about half an hour. "Let's go." Suyu stood up. "Where are we going, boss?" "To a place. I'm very sleepy. Let's sleep for a while first, okay? We'll go tomorrow." I was really too sleepy. He couldn't even open his eyes. He didn't know if he was airsick or something. "Then you sleep first. I'll go take a look myself." Suyu didn't make things difficult for him. He put on his down jacket and got up to leave. "Hey, don't. Boss, what are you doing? I can't let you take the risk alone. What if you're eaten by a polar bear?" And struggled to get up and chased after him. The master and servant shuttled through the North Pole. "Boss, look." When they walked out, they found that although it was nighttime, there was an aurora. The moment Suyu raised his head, he was also slightly stunned. What a beautiful aurora. In order to see the aurora, he had been to China's Mohn North Pole village in Finland, where he stayed in a high-class hotel. This was the first time he had come to such a northerly place, and the aurora here could be seen just by looking up. She was so beautiful that it made one dizzy. It was like special effects in a movie theater. The green light made people unable to take their eyes off it. "Do you want to take a picture with me, boss?" And took out his phone. He didn't want to miss such a beautiful moment. So he was very calm. Forget it. The most beautiful scenery can only be seen with your eyes. Cameras can never capture it. Hearing Suyu's words, and put away the phone, and the 2 of them walked forward. Suyu took the special mobile phone that Qin Shu had given him and followed the GPS. He discovered that they were not far from there. At their current walking speed, they would arrive in less than half an hour. This was the first time Suyu walked so energetically. He believed in Qin Shu and believed that this was a place related to Huomin. In the underwater palace, Professor Lu's words infuriated Linya. Linya ordered someone to take the professor away and lock him up. Master, what should we do now? Tell him. I'll give him one night. If he doesn't tell me where the red demon is by tomorrow morning, then Lu Yin will die tomorrow morning. Linya knew that Professor Lu doted on Lu Yin, so she wanted to start with her. Master, someone is approaching our entrance from outside the palace. Messiah seemed to have sensed something and reported. Chapter 4388. Suyu was dumbfounded when he arrived at the location that Qin Shu had given him. This place was exactly the same as anywhere else. There was nothing special about it. Are we there? And looked at Suyu nervously. This should be the location that Qin Shu mentioned. Qin Shu looked at the location on his phone and then looked at the map that Qin Shu had given him. After confirming it, he realized that it was correct. But this place doesn't look any different from other places. There's not even a house. Where are we going to find her? When he heard that Suyu was going to look for Huomin here, he thought that his boss had gone crazy. This was the North Pole, a vast sea with nothing but glaciers. The only living thing here was probably a polar bear. If Huomin had been imprisoned here for a long time, he would have died long ago, right? Suyu was also dumbfounded. Therefore, he called Qin Shu again. Qin Shu was driving. He put on his Bluetooth headset and turned on the anti-eavesdropping function to talk to Suyu. Qin Shu, hello. Suyu, I'm here. Qin Shu, how is it? Did you find anything? Suyu, to be honest, this place is the same as anywhere else. It's night, so I can't see anything. There's not even a house, let alone a hiding place. Qin Shu, are you sure Mian is here? Could he have been deceived by a scammer? Suyu had heard Qin Shu mention that there was a Miaojiang shaman by his side, so he felt that it was very suspicious. Suyu came because he trusted Qin Shu, not some Miaojiang shaman. Now that he was here, he did not see any suspicious buildings or people. Suyu was a little discouraged. Qin Shu, Suyu, wait for me there. Suyu, you're coming? Qin Shu, okay, I'll try to get there as soon as possible and meet up with you. Suyu, Qin Shu, are you sure this is the place? Is the wizard you found reliable? Could he be a scammer? Qin Shu, no, Mian must be there. Suyu, all right then, I'll wait for you here. Qin Shu, before I go there, don't act rashly. Be careful if you find anything suspicious. Suyu, okay. After hanging up, Qin Shu called Xiaoling again. Xiaoling was a child, but she was very familiar with modern technology. Granny, on the other hand, was an experienced sorcerer and did not know much about these things. Therefore, whenever Qin Shu called, Xiaoling would pick up first. Xiaoling, where's Granny? Grandma is watching TV. Can you put her on the phone? Okay, brother Qin Shu, please wait a moment. Xiaoling handed the phone to her grandmother, who was watching TV. Little Qin, have you found her? For the first time, Granny asked if he had found her. Granny, my friend has already gone there. He has reached the location we marked on the map, but there is nothing there. Just like other places, there are no clues at all. Hearing Qin Shu's words, Granny smiled. Qin Shu knew that Granny should understand. As expected, little Qin, tell your friend not to act rashly. Those people are not ordinary people. Naturally, he can't see anything there. There's a barrier there. Barrier? Qin Shu heard a very strange word again. Granny continued. In the eyes of us sorcerers, it's called a barrier. In the eyes of high-tech fans like you, it should be called a high-level camouflage. In other words, the other party has some advanced equipment that uses light to hide their location. On the surface, it's impossible to see. This principle is like a chameleon changing its color. It's not that you can't see it, but it's hidden deeply. Granny, I'll set off there soon. Can you tell me how to open the barrier? Qin Shu couldn't wait. Chapter 4389. The granny smiled and said something on the phone in a low voice. But Qin Shu heard it clearly. After hanging up the phone, the stone in Qin Shu's heart finally settled. Xiao Fei was also on his way to the North Pole, and Ian's men. This time, he was really going all out. Chin-Chu even knew that Linya wasn't that easy to deal with. Perhaps this time, they would all be wiped out. However, that couldn't stop his sincerity and determination to find Huamian. The black Bentley slowly stopped at the entrance of the City Public Security Bureau. Chin-Chu saw Gao Ran walking out. There was a young policewoman beside him. "Chief Gao, you worked overtime so late. You must be hungry. Can I treat you to supper?" The young policewoman was infatuated with Gao Ran's face and tried to curry favor with him. It was said that Gao Ran was the most handsome leader of the Public Security Bureau in Sea City for so many years. Therefore, these new girls were simply throwing themselves at him dauntlessly. Some didn't even care if he was married or had children. They didn't care at all. Gao Ran was also frightened by the girls' 3 points. Ahem. No, little Zhang, you should go home early. Chief Gao, aren't you hungry? The young policewoman didn't give up. My wife made supper. She's waiting for me at home. Oh, I see. The young policewoman was a little disappointed. Then, she waved at Gao Ran and left. Gao Ran was about to go to the underground parking lot to pick up his car. Then he heard the ear-piercing sound of a horn. Then, he looked up and saw Chin-Chu's Bentley. Gao Ran smiled and walked over with big strides. Oh, President Chin, what brings you here today? Chief Gao, why aren't you going to have supper with a beauty? Chin-Chu actually learned how to tease. Fuck, you eavesdropped on me. Not only did I eavesdrop, I also secretly took photos. If I send them to Zhu Lingling, I wonder what will happen? Chin-Chu laughed. Motherfucker, don't hurt me. You're my dad, okay? Upon hearing that he was going to send the video to Zhu Lingling, Gao Ran was immediately convinced. He still vaguely remembered some of the methods that Xiao Chun had used to chase after him. This made Zhu Lingling jealous for a long time. She even stopped him from driving luxury cars. He didn't even give her any pocket money. Those days were truly unbearable to look back on. Get in. Chin-Chu pointed to the front passenger seat. Without saying a word, Gao Ran went in. What's the situation today? Gao Ran looked at him. I'll treat you to a drink. You can pick the venue. Whoever doesn't get drunk is a bastard. Damn, these are amazing. What's wrong with you today? Gao Ran knew that Chin-Chu rarely drank and rarely got drunk, unless he was in a particularly good mood or a particularly bad mood. Looking at him now, his complexion was still fine. At least he could still see his smile. He didn't seem to be extremely depressed. Chu, did you find me on? Gao Ran suddenly thought of something and asked in surprise. Let's not talk about this for now. Let's drink first. I just feel that. I haven't had a good drink with you in a long time. Then I won't stand on ceremony. Ha! Let's go to Peng Lai Pavilion. Gao Ran was also greedy. Peng Lai Pavilion was a newly opened Chinese restaurant. It was said that there were 12 head chefs alone. On the opening day, they made the most sumptuous and domineering Manchu Han imperial feast of China's traditional cuisine. They invited all the dignitaries in the city to eat and received unanimous praise. It was said that the expenses were very high. A meal for 2 people cost 30,000 to 50,000 yuan. They weren't eating anything rare. They were just normal cuisines. However, even so, business was still booming. It was clear how extravagant this city was. No problem. Chin-Chu said no problem and drove the car to Peng Lai Pavilion. Then, the two of them went straight to the top floor and entered a small private room. Wait a moment, I'll call my wife and ask for leave first. Gao Ran took out his phone with a cheeky smile. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhu Lingling pushed the door open and entered. Honey, why are you here? Gao Ran was dumbfounded. Then, he looked at Chin-Chu, who was smiling meaningfully. Chapter 4390. Isn't Chin-Chu treating us to supper? Zhu Lingling hurriedly drove over with a branded handbag in her hand. Where's our son? Gao Ran saw that his wife came alone, and there was no sign of Gao Buyan behind her. Our son is asleep. You left him alone at home? Gao Ran was surprised. Is there a problem? Your son is asleep. Do I have to wake him up? Chin-Chu only smiled as he looked at the couple who had been bickering since they met. It really has a unique flavor. It looked like they were arguing, but they were actually showing off their affection. Are you too done showing off your affection? If you're done, let's start ordering, Chin Chu said. Haha, the rich guy is treating us to dinner today, so we're here to eat. Honey, you can order whatever you want, don't be shy. Gao Ran looked like it was a waste not to eat. Zhu Lingling sat beside him and picked up the menu. Chu, how's the quality of this year's dog food? Gao Ran pretended to be obedient. Chin Chu took out a box of cigarettes very elegantly, took out one, and placed the rest on the table. Then, he wasn't in a hurry to light it up. He just fiddled with the good-looking cigarette in his hand. He said slowly, I refuse your dog food, kick over your dog bowl, and blow your dog head off. Ha ha ha. Gao Ran laughed out loud, not caring about his identity as the chief. She had known Chin Chu for so many years, but he rarely made jokes like this. Therefore, to be able to hear a popular joke from him on the internet, the probability was basically the same as winning the lottery. That wasn't all. Gao Ran took out his phone and said to Chin Chu, Chu, say what you just said again. I'll record it for you and send it quickly. Chin Chu, stop showing off. Hurry up and order. Don't piss off our tycoon. If he runs away, are you going to treat him? After Zhu Lingling rebuked Gao Ran a few times, he immediately stopped. That's not possible. Chu is not someone who lacks money. Gao Ran took the menu and flipped through it. Where's Mian? Why isn't she here? After Zhu Lingling asked, Gao Ran and Chin Chu exchanged glances. Clearly, Zhu Lingling didn't know the truth of the matter. Only Jiang Xiaowei, Su Yu, and Gao Ran knew about it. Therefore, she was curious. Usually, there would be 4 people at gatherings. Why were there only 3 people today? Only the main character, Huamin, was missing? Gao Ran didn't dare to say anything because he didn't know what Chin Chu was going to say. Therefore, he didn't reply. Chin Chu lit the cigarette in his hand and slowly said, She's asleep. It's so early. What time is it? Zhu Lingling looked at her watch and felt that Huamin went to bed too early. Why don't I call her and wake her up? We haven't had a quiet gathering in a long time. I miss it. Zhu Lingling picked up her phone as she spoke. Lingling, don't call. Gao Ran quickly stopped his wife. Why are you so nervous? No, I was just thinking that Huamin is already asleep. It's not good for you to wake her up if you call. She hasn't been feeling well recently. Let's let her rest. Gao Ran's reaction was fast enough, and he explained everything in detail. Zhu Lingling also believed him. That's true. All right then, it'll be the 3 of us. Waiter, bring in a case of beer. It was Chin Chu who said this. After Chin Chu finished speaking, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were dumbfounded. Hey, what's wrong with you? Gao Ran asked him. President Chin, there are 24 bottles in one case. Even if the 3 of us split it equally, it'll be 8 bottles each. Are you okay? Zhu Lingling was also shocked. Chin Chu asked for beer, which was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he even brought in a case. In all these years, it had only happened once. It was right before their high school graduation. At that time, they thought that Chin Chu and Huamin were going abroad together, so the 4 of them drank too much at the party. Chin Chu and Huamin also slept together at that time. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran still used it as a joke. Chapter 4391. In the face of the couple's exclamations, Chin Chu only said indifferently, Do you dare to drink? Of course, why wouldn't I? I've never been convinced by your alcohol tolerance, Gao Ran clamored. I'll risk my life to accompany you. Zhu Lingling smiled as well. Just like that, the 3 of them quietly ate supper in the private restaurant. Chin Chu seemed to be a little more talkative than usual. At first, the 3 of them were just chatting about trivial matters, but as they chatted, they somehow talked about their high school days. Hey Chu, tell me, there were so many beautiful girls in second high back then. Why did you fall for Huamin? Gao Ran was also a little drunk after 3 rounds of drinking, so he didn't know what to say. Not to be outdone, Zhu Lingling pinched her husband. What are you talking about? What's wrong with Mian? She's so outstanding. No, what I mean is, back in school, everyone was still young. At that age, people usually looked at faces. How could they know anything about inner beauty? That's why many boys had a crush on the school belle. Speaking of which, I get angry. Didn't you also have a crush on the school belle, Wang Ran? After I confessed and was rejected, didn't I change my target? Gao Ran smiled. Qin Shu watched the couple bicker and smiled quietly. Chu, if time could go back, would you still choose me on? Yes, I would. Qin Shu didn't even think about it. Look at him. Look at you. Zhu Lingling's face was full of disdain. I say, Chu, tell me the truth. Am I right? Huamin really isn't that good looking. Why are you so stubborn? Gaoran always felt that Qin Shu wasn't telling the truth. Boys were all visual creatures. Everyone would like a girl who was good-looking at first sight. Qin Shu flicked the ash off his cigarette, and his thoughts were brought back to many years ago. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. When I saw her, I felt my heart beat faster. It's a familiar feeling. Although it had been many years, every time she thought back to the first time she saw Huamin in person at school, she would still remember it. Qin Shu still felt a rush of excitement. That feeling was still unforgettable. Hachu, if you could go back in time, would you have to go to kindergarten with Huamin? That way, how many years would you have known each other? Gao Ran's words were a joke. To her surprise, Qin Shu replied in all seriousness, I'm not that greedy. If I could turn back time, I wouldn't have left the country, and I wouldn't have lost the 7 years I spent with her. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran looked at each other in silence. It turned out that Qin Shu cared about the 7 years he spent apart from Huamin. No one knew how he spent his days and nights abroad. Almost every day, he missed Huamin. 7 years wasn't a short time. How many people could endure 7 years and still have the same feelings? No one else knew about Qin Shu's feelings for Huamin, but Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling knew very well. The two of them had witnessed everything from the beginning to the end. Qin Shu and Huamian had encountered too many obstacles along the way. Thinking about how they didn't know where Huamin was, Gao Ran suddenly felt sorry for Qin Shu. Everything will pass. Everything will get better. Gao Ran comforted him. Old Gao, Lingling, let's get engaged when we were kids, Qin Shu suddenly said. Sure, aren't we already in-laws? Zhu Lingling thought he was joking. I'm not joking this time. I'm serious. If something happens to me and Mian one day, please take care of my 2 children. After Qin Shu said this, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling's expressions both changed. Chu, what are you talking about? Gao Ran's face obviously darkened. Chapter 4392. Qin Shu just smiled calmly. Don't be nervous. I'm just making an analogy. Don't talk nonsense. It's New Year's Eve. It's inauspicious to talk about this. Yeah, why are you talking about this all of a sudden? Zhu Lingling also felt Qin Shu was a bit strange. We're all adults and should think about our children. It's not auspicious or inauspicious. It's just like some people buy insurance for themselves when they're still alive. It's just a safety measure. I'm rich, but Pudding and Little Bean are still young. If something happens to me and Little Bean, my parents will be old, and my 2 daughters won't be able to support the family. I think Buyuan and Little Bean have been having a good time. If possible, it's good for them to get married when they grow up. Qin Shu took a sip of wine and said these words with a smile. Maybe Qin Shu was too persuasive. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran didn't reject him as much as before. You don't say. It's a good idea. I think Wei Yuan likes Little Bean very much. Little Bean's words are more persuasive than mine. At the mention of the 2 children, Zhu Lingling was immediately energized. She, as Little Bean's biological mother, always teased Wei Yuan and Little Bean when they video called each other. This time, hearing it from Qin Shu's mouth, Zhu Lingling was quite happy. At least she knew Qin Shu approved of Wei Yuan in his heart. After all, Qin Shu doted on his daughters so much that he could give them to Wei Yuan. What did it mean? It meant that Wei Yuan had a high position in his future father-in-law's heart. Hearing this, Gao Ran was also excited. He looked at Qin Shu with a cheeky smile. It's okay for them to get engaged. How much dowry will you prepare for Little Bean? Look at your useless face. Zhu Lingling punched Gao Ran, making him grimace. Qin Shu knew that they were joking, so he wasn't angry. If Buyan treats my daughter well for the rest of his life, I'm willing to give him half of GK. Qin Shu said generously. Just like that, the three of them drank and joked about the marriage between children. Qin Shu could be considered to have given him an order. In fact, even if he didn't say it, if something really happened to him and Mian, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling wouldn't leave the kids alone. After Qin Shu finished speaking, he felt more confident in his heart. On the other side of the earth, in the underwater palace, Su, Yu felt like he had a dream. He dreamt that he had entered a marine park. There were many fish and jellyfish inside. Just as he reached out his hand to touch the jellyfish, he felt a stinging pain from his wound. He was stung. Hiss! Su Yu woke up from his dream in pain. Then he found that he was no longer in the small house at the Arctic Supply Station. He was lying on a large bed, surrounded by transparent glass. Outside the window was the underwater world. There were all kinds of fish swimming, and it was especially beautiful. And the first thing Su Yu did when he woke up was to look for him. However, after shouting for a long time, there was no sign of him. Strange, am I still dreaming? Su Yu reached out and pinched his face, but it really hurt. At this moment, the door was pushed open. A woman in a white robe looked at him expressionlessly. You're awake? Who are you? Where's this place? Su Yu recalled carefully. After talking to Qin Shu told him not to act rashly. So he and in returned to the supply station. After eating a bowl of instant noodles, the two of them lay down. Then they fell asleep. But how'd he end up here? What the hell was this place? Su Yu, do you want to see Huamin? The woman asked him. Su Yu's body trembled slightly. The name Huamin enlightened him. He should know where this was. Chapter 4393. Huamin had been getting more and more frustrated recently. Linya hadn't come to look for her for a long time. After the last time she met her father, she hadn't heard from him. She didn't know what Linya would do to her father and Yen. The only person she saw every day was Messiah. But recently, Messiah hadn't come either. Only those maids who were like walking corpses brought her food. Huamin touched her stomach. It had been so long since the due date. When would the baby be born? How were her father and Yen? If this continued, she would go crazy before Linya could do anything. When Messiah came in, Huamin was throwing a tantrum. She smashed the table of food into pieces. Miss Mian. Messiah, go and find Linya. I want to negotiate with her. Miss Mian, the master can't see you right now. Does she want to lock me up here for the rest of my life? Huamin roared. Miss Mian, don't be agitated. I'm here today with an old friend. Old friend? Huamin looked at Messiah curiously, trying to discern if she was telling the truth. She had trusted Messiah before and felt that she was different from Linya. She wasn't that crazy. Later, she told Linya that they had both lived for hundreds of years. Huamin was completely confused later. When she chatted with her father, Huamin realized that her father didn't trust Linya either. Therefore, Huamin felt that Messiah's words couldn't be trusted. After all, in order to achieve their goals, they would do anything and make up any lies. Messiah turned around. Bring him in. Then, Su Yu was brought in by two maids. Huamin never expected to see Su Yu here. He was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. Su Yu? Huamin's eyes widened. Mian? Su Yu never thought that he would be able to see Huamin so easily. Su Yu, why are you here? Huamin excitedly walked over and grabbed Su Yu's sleeve. Su Yu was no longer wearing a down jacket. Instead, it was a light linen robe that was given to him by the people here. It was very exotic, but it didn't affect his looks at all. Su Yu wanted to explain the whole story, but seeing that there were so many people in the room, he thought it would be inconvenient. Miss Mian, Master said that you should catch up with your old friend. After saying that, Messiah and her men picked up the food that Huamin had smashed and left. Only Su Yu and Huamin were left in the room. Mian. Su Yu really wanted to tell her everything. However, he saw that Huamin's gaze was a little strange, as if reminding him that the walls had ears. Su Yu understood, so he started to talk about things that weren't important. Mian, we all miss you, he said. Me too. How's my husband? Did Layla? No. Qin Shu already knew that something was wrong with her. so he never had any intimate contact with her. Don't worry. So you seem to understand Hua Min's thoughts very well. Before she could ask, he told her everything. Although he knew this would happen, Hua Min was still relieved to hear Su Yu confirm it himself. Is the baby okay? Seeing that Hua Min's belly was still bulging, Su Yu was a little excited. The little guy is fine. Does that mean he's already past his due date? How long has it been? So you thought that the little guy had been born long ago? Yes, it's been 22 days. How could this be? Will he be okay? So you looked at Hua Min's belly worriedly. At this moment, Lin Yu was watching Hua Min and Su Yu's every move in the hall. Master, is it appropriate for them to meet? Su Yu will bring a lot of information to Miss Mi on. Won't it be more difficult for us? Chapter 4394. Lin Yu only smiled faintly. I think Su Yu came at the right time. Isn't that wretched girl worried about her best friend the most? On the other side, Qin Shu, Zhu Lingling, and Gao Ran drank until midnight. The three of them were already drunk. It seemed like Qin Shu hadn't indulged himself like this in a long time. His personality was different from Su Yu's. Su Yu had a fiery personality. If he was unhappy, he would drink and feel better. Qin Shu wasn't like that. All these years, he had always been like water. No matter what happened in the outside world, he would do whatever he wanted when he was in a bad mood. Other than Hua Min, he wouldn't listen to anyone else. When the three of them sat together, they couldn't help but think of the past. Qin Shu also drank a lot, which was rare. Old Qin, I'm so happy today. I haven't had such a good drink in a long time. Gao Ran wobbled as he walked. Zhu Lingling supported her husband. My husband has been under a lot of pressure recently. For some reason, the municipal bureau has been working overtime until late at night. There have also been so many murders, and he hasn't been given an explanation. The higher-ups have been putting pressure on him, and as a housewife, I can't help. So, tonight, it's rare to see him so happy. Qin Shu, you're the best. Zhu Lingling's cheeks were also red as she gave Qin Shu a thumbs up. I called a designated driver for you guys. Go back and rest early. What about you? Gao Ran looked at Qin Shu. I called a designated driver too. I'm going home to rest too. Okay, today was very enjoyable. Let's fight another day. Gao Ran didn't know what Qin Shu had decided or where he was going. Therefore, he only thought that he was in a bad mood today and wanted to get drunk. Qin Shu stood where he was and watched Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran's car drive away. Then, he did not call for a designated driver to return to South Hill Manor. She went to the first hospital. He went to visit someone. Yes, someone who had been forgotten by everyone for a long time. When Qin Shu walked in, Jixin heard him and quickly stood up. Brother-in-law, why are you here? During this time, Jixin had been taking care of his mother and Bella. Bella had been unconscious for a long time. In the beginning, everyone came to visit often and even felt sad for Jixin. But as time passed, it faded away. It was unknown when Bella would wake up. The surgery was performed by Qin Shu. He was very clear that Bella's situation was very bad. To put it bluntly, she might be in a vegetative state for the rest of her life. Bella and Jixin hadn't been married for long, and they didn't even have a child. Thinking of Bella's accident, Qin Shu felt guilty. If he had killed that monster Jingda earlier, such a tragedy would not have happened. Bella had been on her guard for a long time. Her only mistake was telling the fake Hua Min about this. That was why she was killed. If Qin Shu hadn't performed the surgery himself, Bella might have been a corpse. Yeah, I'm here to see Bella, Qin Shu said. Brother-in-law, have you been drinking? Jixin was surprised to smell the strong smell of alcohol on Qin Shu. He knew that his brother-in-law rarely drank so much. Qin Shu didn't answer. He just walked to the bed and looked at Bella. Has Bella not moved at all? What did the attending doctor say? Hearing this, Jixin's eyes dimmed. The doctor comes to check on her every day, but she's still the same. I don't know when she'll wake up. Jixin, if Bella never wakes up, what are you going to do? Qin Shu looked at his brother-in-law, who was like a little brother to him, with heartache. Chapter 4395. After hearing this, Jixin was silent for a long time. Then he slowly said, "Brother-in-law, to be honest, I've never thought about this. Jixin, compared to many people, you're already a very lucky person." Jixin seemed to know what Qinshu was going to say, so he quickly said, "I know, brother-in-law. There are some things that I haven't said, but it doesn't mean that I don't know. I'm where I am today because of you and my sister. Although I'm not an idiot and have my own abilities, you provided the platform, and my sister took care of my studies. All these years, my sister helped me and our family a lot. She sheltered me and my mother from the wind and rain. So, Jixin, if one day your sister is no longer around, what are you going to do?" Hearing Qinshu's sad question, Jixin almost burst into tears. To be honest, Jixin had never thought about what he would do if one day his sister was no longer around, because in his mind, his sister was a tough woman, a very powerful person. She would be by his side for the rest of his life. She would shoulder all the burdens. "Brother-in-law, what's wrong with you today? Are you in a bad mood? Did you quarrel with my sister?" Jixin realized that his brother-in-law's mood wasn't right, so he was worried that the two of them had quarreled. "No, how could I bear to quarrel with her?" Qinshu smiled bitterly. He hoped that he would have a chance to quarrel with Huomin, but God didn't give him the chance. He didn't even know how Huomian was doing. "Then why did you come to the hospital at this time? I have a feeling that there's something on your mind." Jixin wasn't stupid. Naturally, he knew that his brother-in-law was acting strangely. "I had a drink with Gao Ran and the others. On the way back, I passed by the hospital and came to see you and Bella. We're fine, brother-in-law. You've been busy enough at the company. My sister isn't feeling well. You have to take care of the whole family. Don't worry about us. Okay, take good care of Bella. When I'm not around, ask Assistant Yang about the company." After saying this ambiguous sentence, Qinshu left. The more Jixin thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. Why did his brother-in-law say to ask Assistant Yang when he wasn't around? Where was brother-in-law going? But before Jixin could ask, Qinshu had already left. At 4 o'clock in the morning, the entire city was shrouded in terrifying darkness. It was as if as long as he raised his head to take a look, he would feel as if he was about to suffocate. After returning to South Hill Manor, Qinshu went straight to the study and fell into a daze. The video of the twins arrived as promised. Because of the time difference, it always came in the middle of the night, and Qinshu seemed to have been waiting for this call. "Daddy, hee, are you asleep?" Little Bean smirked. "Yes, Daddy almost fell asleep. My sister said there's a time difference, and she doesn't want me to call you. She doesn't want to disturb your rest. But I don't want to. I miss Daddy. Why can't I call you?" Little Bean pouted. "Baby, you're right. Only Big Sister doesn't miss you. That's why she's being sarcastic. So, Daddy, give Big Sister less money in the future and give me more. I'm the one who loves you the most." Seeing Little Bean's little thoughts, Qinshu laughed out loud. "Daddy, I'm serious. Why are you laughing? Don't you believe me?" No. I believe you." "Then do you believe that I love you more than Qin Zhao Zhao?" Little Bean was a bit insatiable. "Qin Mumu, you gossipy woman. Don't you feel embarrassed talking bad about me behind Daddy's back? Do you think I won't throw you into the river to feed the fishes?" Pudding's voice sounded behind Little Bean. Chapter 4396. All right, both of you, stop arguing. Daddy believes that both of you love Daddy equally. Qinshu felt a headache coming on as he watched the two children argue. He smiled helplessly and tried to calm them down. "It's not the same. I love Daddy more," Little Bean corrected. Little Bean, on the other hand, was especially domineering. Pudding glanced at Little Bean's chubby face calmly. "You can't just say that you love Daddy. What have you done for Daddy?" Little Bean, what about you? What have you done?" Little Bean insisted that her sister was bullying her. "I used the money I earned to buy Daddy a lot of gifts. I even made coffee for Daddy. I even ordered supper for Daddy when Daddy worked overtime at night. I even bought Daddy and Mommy a couple short-sleeved Disney t-shirts. Then, Miss Chin Moo Moo, what about you? I, I share my black swan cake with Daddy. Little Bean racked her brains, but she could only remember one time when she ate the black swan cake. She was afraid that her mommy would scold her for eating too much dessert, so she quickly pulled her daddy to have a bite as well and used him as a shield. The whole family knew that Chin Chu didn't like to eat sweet things. However, Little Bean couldn't stand her daughter's coaxing and pestering, so she went all out. She was willing to commit a crime for Daddy. She was simply exaggerating and acting coquettishly. In the end, Mr. Chin, who doted on his daughter to no end, took a few bites of the black swan cake. She originally wanted Daddy to take the bullet for her. Now that she brought it up, Little Bean naturally lacked confidence, and she was immediately exposed by her sister. Chin Moo Moo, are you shameless? Did you do that for Daddy? That time, it was clearly because you were greedy and were afraid of being scolded by Mommy, so you dragged Daddy into the water with you. You still have the nerve to mention this matter. Aren't you ashamed? After Little Bean was exposed by her sister, she was very embarrassed. Her little face flushed red. In the end, she acted coquettishly to her daddy. Daddy, look at my sister. She's bullying me. She's so much older than me. Doesn't she know how to give in to me? You're shameless. We're twins. I'm not that much older than you. Don't try to threaten me with morality, Little Bean retorted. Daddy, look at her. Sob, sob. Little Bean had a unique skill, which was to act coquettishly. Every time she couldn't settle something, she would definitely act coquettishly. Furthermore, it worked every single time. Other than the fact that it didn't work on his elder sister, no one else in the family was spared. Seeing his daughter acting spoiled, Chin Chu's heart softened. All right, you're both Daddy's good daughters. Daddy's heart aches for you. Chin Chu looked at the two little girls in front of him and felt that his heart was going to melt. Daddy, do you think I've become prettier recently? Little Bean touched her face narcissistically. Yes, you're beautiful. Daddy, do you want to buy me some lipstick? Chin Chu didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Little Bean's strange request. Little Bean, what do you want lipstick for? I can't lose at the starting line. When I went abroad this time, I saw that foreign girls put on makeup since they were young. All of them are makeup experts. How can my bare face be compared to theirs with makeup? Anyway, I want all the lipsticks from the big brands and all the colors. Okay, Chin Chu agreed without hesitation. Wow, Daddy, you're so nice. Then you can buy Mommy a set. She'll be very happy, Little Bean whispered. Yes, you sis, and Mommy will all get one. Chin Chu smiled. Hearing her daddy's words, Little Bean immediately cheered. Get up, it's my turn. No, I haven't said enough. Obviously, Little Bean didn't want to give it to her sister. Chapter 4397. Are you sure you don't want to leave? I'm sure. But I just heard from Annie that she and Uncle Tang are going to eat delicious desserts and your favorite chocolate wafers. Really? Little Bean was dubious at the mention of food. If you hesitate, they'll probably eat it all. Don't say I didn't tell you. Pudding used her trump card. Damn it. Why did you only tell me now? Daddy, I'm going to find something to eat. Hearing that her auntie and the others were secretly eating delicious food, Little Bean went all out. She left the camera as fast as lightning. Then, Pudding took the phone and glanced at her daddy. Daddy, we missed you so much. Yeah, Daddy missed you too. Did you have fun? Yes. Good. If you're happy, Daddy will be happy too. Daddy, it's 4 a.m. in China right now. You're too tired. Don't video call us at this time. Go to bed early. Pudding knew about the time difference and was very smart. She felt bad that her daddy had to video call them so late at night. No hurry. Daddy's not sleepy. Daddy, did you drink? You can even tell. Is Daddy blushing? It was the first time Chin Chu did such an adorable action. He touched his 360-degree face in front of the camera. No, I just feel that there's something wrong with your eyes. Do you have to be so observant? I can't hide anything from you. Didn't Mommy tell you not to drink too much? It's bad for your liver. Pudding scolded Chin Chu like a little adult. I didn't drink too much, Chin Chu explained guiltily. Is everything okay at home? Everything's fine. How's Auntie? Did she do anything? Not yet. I went to the hospital today. Your auntie is still the same. Thinking of Bella's condition, Chin Chu felt guilty again. He hoped that, after he found Huo Mian, they would have a chance to discuss whether to do another surgery for Bella. Maybe there was a way to fix it. Pudding, Daddy has something to tell you. Chin Chu thought for a moment and decided to tell Pudding. Okay, Daddy, go ahead. In addition to all the assets in the domestic bank account, Daddy also opened an account in a Swiss bank. The account name is in your and your sister's name. The password is your birthday, and the password is your mother's birthday. When you withdraw the money, you need to enter your fingerprints. Daddy, why did you do that? Pudding was puzzled. Don't worry, I bought a trust fund worth a few hundred million yuan in Hong Kong. They'll pay for your school fees and living expenses. My legal team is managing this matter. The lead lawyer is Mr. Zhang Zhongmin. You know him, right? He was the one who played chess with Grandpa last time. Remember to look for him. Your Uncle Yang has his contact information. You can ask Uncle Yang for it later. I've already divided the company's shares into 5. Other than you, your sister, your uncle, and your aunt, the remaining shares belong to the other shareholders, Chin Chu said quickly. Daddy, why are you telling me this? What happened? Pudding had a vague feeling that her daddy was acting weird today. Chapter 4398. The more Pudding listened, the more scared she became. Why did she feel like her daddy was saying his last words? It's nothing. I just want to make things clear. I'm afraid that if something happens in the future, I won't be able to say it in time. It'll be very troublesome. Pudding, Daddy is very grateful to you and your sister for coming to this world, for acknowledging us as your parents. Daddy is very proud. For some reason, when he said the word proud, Chin Chu suddenly choked up and couldn't continue. He wasn't a sentimental person, but today he still couldn't calm down in front of his daughter. Father and daughter were really connected by heart. Daddy, what happened to you and Mommy? Pudding was so anxious that she almost cried. Daddy is really fine. Pudding, you and your sister have a good trip. Daddy still has something to do, so I'll hang up first. Chin Chu didn't dare to say anything more to his daughter, so he hurriedly hung up. It was already 5 o'clock in the morning. Chin Chu looked out of the window and felt an indescribable sense of depression. He picked up his phone and called Suyu again. However, it was a busy tone. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be. The phone Suyu had brought with him before he left was given to him by Chin Chu. It was a special phone with a strong signal. Moreover, the battery was extremely powerful and was specially used by the military factory. Firstly, it was impossible for the signal to be weak and out of service. Secondly, it was impossible for the battery to run out. Therefore, when he heard the beeping sound, Chin Chu could only feel that something was wrong. After hanging up, Chin Chu called again 10 minutes later, but it was still the same. An ominous feeling came to him. Could it be that something had happened to Suyu? He didn't listen to him and went to that place to look for Huo Min again. The more he thought about it, the more confused Chin Chu became. He decided to call Xiao Fei and ask where Xiao Fei and the others were. Unexpectedly, it was the same. Xiao Fei's phone also beeped with a busy tone. Chin Chu was restless. At 5 o'clock in the morning, he drove to the city center to look for his mother-in-law. In the underwater palace, the moment Huo Min saw Suyu, she was happy and pleasantly surprised. However, after chatting for a while, she suddenly had a terrifying thought. Was the Suyu in front of him the real Suyu? Or was he a clone of Suyu? After all, this was Lin Ya's territory. She might do something reckless to her and her father in order to obtain the red demon. Mian, what's wrong? Seeing that Huo Min was deeply worried, Suyu was also puzzled. Suyu, I've been thinking about the past while I've been here. I feel like time has passed very quickly. It feels like we met in the blink of an eye, like it was a lifetime ago. Yeah, that was fast. Suyu nodded. Suyu, do you still remember the place we met? Yeah, back then, I was recuperating in a hospital. As a newbie at Southside, you were so arrogant that you went against me. You were the first person in my life who dared to talk back to me. Suyu smiled. Thinking back to the time when they first met, Suyu was filled with happiness. He had always thought that it was the fastest time in his life. Getting to know Huamin was a huge turning point in his life. Su Yu's answer was correct. Huamin continued to probe. Do you still remember what your female artist did to me because she was jealous? Su Yu immediately replied, Of course I remember. If I had known that Zhao Qingya would become so pretentious, I wouldn't have just sent her to prison. I would have thrown her into the sea to feed the sharks to prevent future trouble. Su Yu was right again. However, Huamin was still unsure. This was because she knew that the clone and the main body could share memories. In other words, the clone could see Su Yu's memories as long as it used its brain. Then, how could she prove that Su Yu is the real Su Yu? Chapter 4399. Huamin had never thought that he would suspect Su Yu one day. After all, this was a man who was willing to give up his life for him. If it were before, Huamin would never think about this. But now it was different. When did it start? Everything had become so mysterious and supernatural. It was probably from the appearance of Jing that the trajectory of her life began to slowly change. Then, Linya, Layla, Huasiqian, Jack, and everything else. They all made Huamin feel incredulous, but he had to accept these bizarre experiences and ridiculous facts. Mian, you're a little weird today. What's wrong? Did someone threaten you or bully you so you grabbed Huamin's sleeve tightly? This was a good habit of Su Yu. No matter how urgent the situation was, he would not deliberately touch Huamin. He would never take the initiative to hold Huamin's hand, but he would tug at Huamin's sleeve. There was no direct skin-to-skin contact. Su Yu, how did you get here? I don't know. I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was already here. Damn it, what the hell is this place? Why is it like an underwater world? How can there be such a bizarre place in the world? Su Yu looked around at the buildings in disbelief, as if he was watching a 3D movie. This is Linya's nest. Linya? Su Yu was surprised to hear Huamin call Linya by her name. Yes, she's Linya, the mother of my genes. At the mention of Linya, Huamin's attitude turned cold. She's your biological mother. Why would she do this to you? I don't understand. Su Yu complained. Huamin smiled faintly. Let's not talk about this anymore. Su Yu, are you hungry? Shall I take you to get something to eat? Seeing that Su Yu had gone through so much, Huamin wanted to let him calm down and eat something. Without waiting for Su Yu to speak, Huamin called for Messiah. Messiah, Miss Mian, what can I do for you? My friend hasn't eaten yet. Can you prepare some food? Sure. With Huamin's instructions, Messiah quickly prepared a table of dishes. Perhaps because she knew that these people liked to eat Chinese food, Messiah had also prepared Chinese food. Other than stir-fried vegetables, there was also roast duck. Huamin followed the old rules and only let Su Yu eat it after he tried it. Don't you like roast duck the most? Eat more to conserve your energy. Huamin rolled up a duck cake for Su Yu and handed it to him. Su Yu was slightly touched. He took the duck cake and ate it slowly. This taste is a little strange. What's wrong? Huamin looked at Su Yu. I'm not sure. This looks like roast duck, but it doesn't taste like roast duck. Mian, are you sure this is okay? Su Yu was a food expert and had eaten all over the world. His favorite was the famous roast duck in Jing City, and he often ate it in Sea City. Therefore, Su Yu could tell the color, fragrance, and taste of roast duck with just a lick. However, the roast duck here looked very good and smelled very good. However, when he ate it, it was different. Perhaps the roast duck had left him with too much enjoyment. Therefore, when there was a gap, he could immediately sense it. Su Yu didn't finish eating. He only took a bite and put down the food in his hand. Mian, do you feel that something is wrong? Su Yu looked at Huamin seriously. What? Huamin didn't seem to know what Su Yu was going to say. I feel that something is wrong. Everything here is wrong. Everything is wrong. It's too strange. It's like we're doing. Before Su Yu could finish, he suddenly felt the ground shake outside. Chapter 4400. It was like an earthquake that came without warning. Su Yu subconsciously reached out to protect Huamin, but he lost consciousness. When he woke up again, he found himself trapped in a sealed room filled with white crystals. Mian. He wanted to get up, but he found that he couldn't muster any strength. He didn't know if he had really seen Mian. Perhaps it was just a dream? And so he called out N's name, but there was still no response. His body seemed to be controlled by something. His entire body was weak and stiff. On the other side, when Homin woke up, he was already in his room. Suyu. Miss Mian, you're awake? Where's Suyu? Homin was especially worried about Suyu's safety. Miss Mian, what's Suyu? Who's Suyu? My friend, Suyu. How is he? Homin held his head, feeling dizzy. Messiah, on the other hand, looked calm. Miss Mian, are you dreaming? I don't know what you're talking about, and I've never seen Suyu. You're asleep. You've been asleep for more than 10 hours. I fell asleep. Homin was stunned. Indeed, he couldn't distinguish between reality and dreams here. Therefore, Messiah's words confused Homin. Miss Mian, you haven't been in a good mental state recently. Are you too tired? Homin shook his head, his expression ugly. Miss Mian, are you hungry? Do you want to eat? In order to create an atmosphere for Homin to think that she was dreaming, Messiah asked Homin again if he wanted to eat. Actually, Homin had just eaten not long ago, but he had just taken a bite when something like an earthquake happened. I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. I want to rest. Okay, then have a good rest. Call me if you need anything. After Messiah left the room, Homin lay on the bed and recalled everything. Was it really a dream? She seemed to have seen Suyu, spoken to him, and planned to eat together. Then the earth shook, and when he woke up, Suyu was gone. What the hell is going on? What was Suyu going to say before the earthquake? What did he say? Homin felt that he had missed something important. Suyu seemed to think of something, but he couldn't say it in time. He felt a sharp pain in his brain. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, however, the more means a mess the baby in her belly moved from time to time, reminding her that it was still fine. In the main hall, Messiah slowly walked forward and knelt down. Master, how is she? Linya sat in the main hall with a transparent glass cup in her hand. Inside was a blood-red liquid that looked terrifying. Master, Miss Mian is still skeptical. She'll probably think about it for a couple of days. If she can't figure it out, she'll believe us. Okay, where's that kid? He's already under our control and isolated. I didn't expect him to almost ruin our plan. Linya's expression didn't look too good. I didn't expect Suyu, an ordinary person, to have such high awareness and awareness. We almost lost everything. We must have made a mistake, and Suyu saw through it. Fortunately, we came in time. Master, should we kill Suyu? Chapter 44:01. No, keep him alive for now. That kid seems to be very important to Mian. Okay, what about the person who came with him? Should we keep him alive too? There's no point in keeping such a small character. Kill him. Yes, Master. After Messiah received the mission, she brought people to bring him out and escorted him to the underwater black hole. What are you doing? Let go of me. And struggled with all his might, but it was useless here. It was very strange. However, no matter how he shouted, those people ignored him. Instead, he rudely led him into a tunnel that gradually turned dark. Once you enter the underwater black hole, you'll never be able to come back. You can only blame yourself for following the wrong master and coming to the wrong place. After Messiah finished speaking, she grabbed In's hair and pushed him forward. Wait! A voice sounded behind her. Messiah turned around and was surprised to see Professor Liu. Mr. Liu. Messiah was very respectful when she saw the professor. Perhaps it was because of Linya, although the two of them had already fallen out over the Red Demon incident. But Linya didn't do anything to the professor, and he was still free. Let him go. Professor Liu recognized him at a glance. As someone with a photographic memory, he knew at a glance that this was someone around Suyu. Mr. Liu, I'm sorry. This is Master's order. I don't dare to disobey. Obviously, Messiah wouldn't listen to the professor. Tell Linya to let this young man go. I have a gift for her. The professor was very serious. Messiah thought for a few seconds and finally let go of it. Then, she seemed to use some kind of sensor to have a private conversation with Linya. Of course, no one else could hear this conversation. 10 seconds later, Messiah looked at Professor Liu and said, Master said that if Professor's gift isn't sincere, it won't be this young man who dies. Miss Liu Yin will die too. Hearing this, anger flashed across the professor's face. What did Linya think Liu Yin was? Was she an ant that could be crushed? That was his beloved daughter. Don't worry, I'll see Linya at dinner. She'll definitely be satisfied. Okay, I wish you all the best, Professor. Messiah left with her men, leaving Shaoan behind, and came back to his senses. Liu Yin is here? He's beside himself with joy. Professor Liu nodded and looked at him. You're here. Does that mean Su Yu is here too? I was separated from a boss. I don't know where my boss is now. Where's this place? By the way, I heard them talking about Liu Yin. You are? The professor's previous appearance in Sea City was very mysterious, and Shaoan did not have any impression of him. Therefore, he did not recognize the professor when he saw him. I'm Liu Yan's father, and was dumbfounded when he heard that. Liu Yan's name was enough to shake the mercenary world, and this kind-looking old man was Liu Yan's father. Then wouldn't he be the famous genius medical scientist, Professor Liu? You are? Professor Liu. Liu. Shaoan stuttered. Professor Liu nodded. Oh my God. I actually saw the professor in person. Oh my God. You're someone who even the FBI treats as a VIP. Why are you here? Shaoan had never dreamed that one day he would actually meet such a legendary figure under such circumstances. The professor did not answer him. Instead, he smiled and asked, Do you know my Yin? At the mention of Liu Yin, and felt an indescribable excitement. Goddess Liu Yin was here too. Would he be able to see her soon? Chapter 4402. Faced with the professor's question, and was very excited. Yes. Not only do I know her, but Goddess Liu Yin is my idol. You? And Su Yu were captured too? Professor Liu was surprised. Logically speaking, Linya wanted the red demon. In that case, Linya only caught people who could threaten him. But what did Su Yu and this young man have to do with him? Professor Liu was confused. I don't know what happened either. My boss and I came to look for Dr. Hua, but we didn't see Dr. Hua. That's how it is now that I thought about it. He didn't understand what was going on either. He remembered that the last scene was when he went to the North Pole with Su Yu. Then, he rested in the supply station and seemed to have fallen asleep. Then it became like this. Professor Liu nodded. Professor, do you know if Goddess Liu Yin is here? I want to see her. And was stubborn, very similar to Su Yu. He knew that he would never have a chance to interact with Liu Yin in this life. Therefore, he didn't dare to have wishful thinking. However, as long as he could see Liu Yin once, he would be satisfied. In a sense, and was even more pitiful than Su Yu. Although Su Yu couldn't have Hua Min, he was good friends with Hua Min and could see him often. Liu Yin, on the other hand, was a mythical figure to him, and it was hard for him to even meet her. Yin is indeed here. That's great, and was extremely excited. But she's not in a good state right now. Thinking about Linya's madness and Liu Yan's coma, the professor couldn't express his feelings. Professor, can you show me? I made a request. Professor Liu also wanted to see his daughter, but everyone here listened to Linya. I'll try. Come with me. Professor Liu had an excellent memory. Even after coming here and looking at the maze, he could remember everything. However, as long as he had been to a place, he would remember it, even if it was only once, no matter how hard it was to find that place. Professor Liu brought into the door of the room where Liu Yin was being held. Tell Linya that I want to see you. Professor Liu said to the two guards at the door. The two guards looked at each other with blank expressions. Tell Linya that I'll deliver the stone to her later. After hearing this, the guards seemed to be secretly connected to Linya, just like Messiah before. Shaoan stood behind the professor and did not dare to make a sound. He knew that anything that had to do with the professor was very complicated. Perhaps it was because the professor had been here for a few days This was the first time he had agreed to give him something. Therefore, Linya was very happy and showed mercy. She agreed to Professor Lu's request to see Lu Yan. The professor walked in front and then walked behind him. The two of them slowly walked into the room. There was only one crystal coffin in the white room. It was white and transparent, beautiful and resplendent. Shaoan couldn't wait to walk to the crystal coffin. Then his heart seemed to have stopped. The person inside was none other than Lu Yan. Even with her eyes closed, she was still a heavenly beauty. Lu Yan's beauty was one of a kind in 10,000 people. But he didn't like Lu Yan because of her beauty. He liked Lu Yan's temper, personality, and domineering attitude too much. She was always like a queen, high and mighty. "Professor, is she dead?" An's voice trembled slightly. "You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.